And first of all, I want to thank Al Ayman, the best manager in the world.
He's the fucking champion of the world! Mega man!
The 114th edition of the Nuthouse podcast, brought to you by BoxAsylum.com. It is the 1st of March. I'm Andy Patterson. And today on the show I've got Adam Smith, David Loback, Donny Baseball, Steve Wellens and Kurt Ward. We'll probably have Alex Morris kicking around somewhere. I think he's got some technical problems just now. As I say, it's the start of the year actually. We've been really desperate for some decent action. I think we finally got it last night. Some good fights coming across two different networks, and we're going to have a lot of fights coming on next weekend. But first off, for the Odyssey Arena in Belfast, Carl Frampton was utterly dominant against Chris Avalos as he butchered him inside 5 rounds. It was interesting to see that Frampton came out in killer mode right from the off, and he was willing to stand and trade, more rather than usually actually use his boxing ability. He could have used his boxing skills to coast himself through the fight. He clearly wanted to stamp Avalos' card pretty early, and he done it. I'll go to Steve first. Steve, I don't know if you noticed or if you heard anything as to what Avalos was complaining about in that second round with the arm injury, but I don't know if he'd maybe try to buy time there, but Frampton right upon him, solid right hand and left hooks to the body. Even though he's got the short reach about him, was beating Avalos to the jab, and just shows you that his timing last night was just absolutely bang on.
Mm-hmm. The timing was the main thing, I felt. In the second round, I got the impression he'd hurt his right arm or his right shoulder, and he was trying to milk it maybe for a bit of respite, but it didn't work out for him because the referee just pushed them back together again, and Carl was straight on his tail. So I think that's all that was, really. I'm not really an impartial observer, obviously, but I just thought Frampton was superb. I was just mightily impressed with his performance. And he's a Premier Super Bantamweight because he dismissed a decent opponent there in his first defence. And I made this point last night, actually, that Avalos was a stronger first world title defence than Santa Cruz, Rigondeaux and Quigg had for any of their belts. If you look at their first defences, I know the Quigg belt is a little bit dubious in most people's eyes, but I'll include him as well. But we were talking to Frampton after the fight, and he said there were sort of two revelatory moments that happened in the first round. Firstly, within the first 30 seconds, Avalos threw a couple of shots, and Frampton said he saw straight away how slow he was. And secondly, he took a shot from him in the first round, and he felt there was a genuine lack of power. So from that moment on, it was a case of just getting the footwork in place and timing Avalos coming in and hitting him with the counters, which he did over and over again until the stoppage came. Because I think Frampton isn't just a highly skillful athlete, he's also a strategic fighter who can think his way through fights, and he can adapt to situations, working off opponents' flaws, which is why he identified Avalos's lack of speed and lack of power early on, and he just realised that he couldn't hurt him. He's got Chris out the way now. He was a good opponent, I think, and they're talking about Quigg next. They still believe a fight with Santa Cruz can be made, actually, but I really do not think that fight is going to happen whatsoever. And they were also saying that Donaire is moving back down to 122, so they fancy a little bit of him. But the only trouble is with them fighting Donaire, there's a danger then they could be accused of gobbling up Rigondot's chewed meat, so to speak, because, there's already been quite a bit of a backlash about the Rigondeaux fight not happening, with it being, it's more risk than financial reward. But there is also legacy and status goes with that risk. If you're putting the money aside, Rigondeaux might not generate you all the money, but if you were to beat a Rigondeaux, then the legacy and the status reward that you would have after that fight, would really set up Frampton for life. But then again, it's a long, hard career. Are you going to make more money not fighting Rigondeaux? So there's sort of a bit of a balance to be made there. But just to close off, I would say that I can see them fighting Scott Quigg in and around June time, negotiations permitting, either in Manchester or maybe London was mentioned as well. Barry was even talking about Stamford Bridge, but it's not. I don't think it'll be there, and I don't think it'll be in Belfast either. They've made noises about fighting in the States, which will happen at some point, I think maybe later this year or early next year, and they've not ruled out fighting down south either. But I don't think the fights down south are that likely to happen, because they should have taken him down there before now, I think, and they were still building him around the sort of Mark Kwan, Steve Molitor sort of level. I think it'll be tougher to go down now and sell places out without having previously shown their faces down there. So I think Quigg in and around June, hopefully that can be made next.
It's interesting what you're saying there, Steve, about just that part you made there about Frampton practically saying that he didn't feel there's anything in Avalos's punches. I mean, I think Frampton maybe alluded to it in the final press conference, and then the fact is that at the weigh-in was Avalos tight at the weight because he actually had to strip naked to get on the scales and make the weight.
Yeah, there was something bizarre about the whole weight making. I wasn't at the weigh-in myself, but I was just talking to people on the night, and I only picked up bits and pieces, so I could be getting this wrong. But it seemed like Avalos was tight at the weight. There was rumours going around that he was just in the sauna all week trying to get down. But then whenever the check weight came, he was actually 2 pounds below the actual weight, not even the plus 10 weight, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's his IBF second day weigh-in.
Yeah, but he wasn't even 2 pounds below the 10 he can go over. He was 2 pounds below the actual limit, if I'm hearing that right. So nobody could really understand what was going on with the weight situation. So I really don't know what the situation was with Avalos making weight, whether they were carrying on or whether it was legitimate, but there was definitely some kind of issue there.
But so they actually say that at the second day weigh-in he was £2 under the £10 limit. No, not even £2 the way it was told to me was he was £2 under the actual super bantamweight limit, somebody told me, which just sounds completely ridiculous. No, I don't recall. I think he made the weight by a few ounces, I believe. I mean,
yeah.
I know for a fact that the IBF have got this £10 limit for a second day weigh-in. It's to stop fighters from putting on drastic amounts of weight, so they kind of have an advantage over an opponent. Maybe that was part of the problem. Maybe he couldn't fully hydrate properly, I don't know, and maybe he left something in there. I don't know.
What I'm saying doesn't sound feasible. So to be honest, but there was some kind of issue with the weight, whatever it was. But on the night, whether that made him slow and sluggish, I don't know. As soon as he got stopped, I think he had to go on oxygen or something like that. But his manager was running out the ring as fast as lightning, and I quickly ran over to him and sort of grabbed him. And said, what's the verdict? And he was a bit flustered, and he said, well, if you don't throw any fucking punches, then you're going to get stopped. So he was sort of angry with Avalos for not throwing back, but I felt Avalos was just caught in a sort of whirlwind. I mean, what more could he do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in that fifth round, he was badly hurt right at the start. It was a straight right hand that Frampton caught him with, and it fucked up his senses because Frampton just laid it on him. And to be honest, guys, I don't know if anybody have seen any of the comments on social media and stuff like that. Some people are actually giving Howard Foster shit. Now, we've given Foster shit in the past, but that stoppage last night, it was the correct call. After that last right hand that Frampton landed, and that, even though he didn't knock him down, at the same time as his legs just started to fold on him.
No, I thought the stoppage was perfect, which I always had faith in Howard Foster. To be honest, I mean, I would have never said anything about him before a fight. I think he's an excellent referee, and he did a superb job on the night.
Dave, well, to be honest, in fact, Donny, I want to go to you in a minute actually, but just to let listeners know, if you want to call in, add Box Selling Pod on Skype, we'll get you through. Dave, you've been giving Frampton a wee bit of shit in the past there, saying he's a fake world champion like Scott Quigg, etc. Were you impressed with his performance last night? Did you see it?
Yes, I did. That was one of the British fights I did see live. He did look good. He was definitely not boring. I criticized him originally when I first started watching Frampton. I thought, I don't like this guy because he's just boring. He's a little too clinical. Last night was a good show. Still, he's not the champion. I mean, there's one champion. When there's a lineal champion, we know who it is. It's Rigondeaux. But I don't even think he's number one at the weight. I think Santa Cruz has a significantly better resume. But Frampton's a good fighter, and I want to see him take the big fights. I don't think we need to waste time with the Quigg fight. I mean, obviously it's going to sell, and it's probably going to happen because a whole bunch of UK fans want to see it. But, Frampton's going to destroy him easily.
Somebody said to me today, actually, that Quigg shouldn't be expected to fight anyone tough in his next fight because of the hand surgery. Quigg says he's wanting to take the Frampton fight without a tune-up. And in all honesty, some of the people that they're rewriting history slightly because they're saying Frampton should just fight Regal next because it's the easiest fight to make. The Quigg fight's difficult to make. I say, well, wait a minute. I says there was a time back in the past 2-3 years ago when that fight was the easiest of all the fights of super bantamweight for Frampton and Quigg to get it on.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he has a tune-up or not. He's getting wrecked. He's terrible.
Well, I've always stated that Frampton would beat him. I know Matty D, he's quite high on Scott Quigg. Quite a few people actually still saying Scott Quigg could do the business. I really don't know. I think he's too flat-footed. Frampton, as I've said before, but Frampton's got good lateral movement. He can fight in the back foot, front foot. He's aggressive. I said last night, he just, that was just totally different Carl Frampton for me. That proved to me that he could maybe fight on the inside as well because he was razor sharp there last night. Donny, you said you were going to be giving us a 2-minute monologue or diatribe at the start of the show this week. What's the problem?
No monologue, no beef.
What was this based off something that happened or said last week?
Yeah, it was, but doesn't matter.
Okay.
Can I just step in about Scott Quigg?
Yeah,
because
sure.
For me, talk about him fighting Frampton, people are excited about it. I must be in the minority because to me that fight does nothing for me. It's a mismatch in my opinion. That fight was good about a year ago. Frampton is levels above Scott Quigg. He's shown that and he's moved on. I want to see either Leo Santa Cruz or Rigondeaux fight. Scott Quigg, he's about a level of Kid Galahad. That's his level. He might be better than Kid Galahad and maybe he can show us. The fact is Quigg has never shown anything to suggest he's world class. People can quote the rankings and say, oh well, he's top 5 in a division, but when your division's not very good, so what? I mean, Arthur Abraham's currently the second best 168 pounder in the world. I mean, but he's shot and completely limited. That's all about the division he's in. Scott Quigg, the best guy he ever faced was a Cuban who Sky told us was great, and he drew with him. He got his phony title that basically is no better than
like
a Toys
FedEx.
R Us bout or a WWF bout you buy in a kid's store is as legitimate as that. And in the next fight, that heralded Cuban who was so good got destroyed by a road sweeper. So Scott Quigg's never shown me anything at the moment. He may do, but at the moment that fight's nothing. And if I was Frampton McGuigan, I'd be desperate to make it as well because that is an easy payday as you can get. Fuego on the forum mentioned and compared it to Hay against Enzo Macronelli, and I can see that. It's a fight where you're going to make money in practically easy. But I want to see Frampton take on the better guys' division. And I gave him a pass because I criticised Quigg, I criticised Santa Cruz for their ducking of Rigondeaux. McGuigan always said Frampton wasn't ready, but now after saying what he said last night, you're going to face the music. You've got a title, you say you're the best, you're going to have to prove it. Because all these guys, they talk about it, but you never actually see them get in the ring with Rigondeaux, and that to me is annoying.
Well, Adam, as Kurt says, I don't know how you stand with Scott Quigg, but if you look at his opponents, I think we basically complained that his last 3-4 opponents before the Japanese guy who fought the last time. They were all bantamweights getting pulled up in weight. He's been dropped by a jab of Jamie Arthur in the past. Do you agree that Quigg gets wiped out probably within 5-6 rounds?
Yes, on the form that has been on evidence to us. I think I was one of the last people to jump over onto the Frampton camp out of the two, and it's been known that I did support Quigg before. I think Quigg was certainly a victim of the title madness that has engulfed boxing recently, but that was at the start of his reign of this Toys R Us belt. Now we're at the stage where his promoters, managers, whatever, have failed him in not getting him a legitimate fight. It's all what you guys have said about legitimate opponents. He's not had any. He's not proven that he's world class. I'm just hoping that the fight can be made. I thought Frampton was sensational last night, to be honest. I think that Avalos was certainly a credible opponent, obviously mandatory, and Frampton came across last night as if he could have beat him however he wanted it, but it was clear early doors that, as Steve said, he mentioned in the press conference, etc., he felt Avalos had no power and was slow, and as a result went in for the kill, and I think that was excellent. He's gone in there, he probably could have boxed for a few rounds and maybe stopped him a bit late, but he's seen openings. Avalos was looking for a way out from round 2 onwards, and he just pounced on him. I thought it was an excellent performance, and I don't mind now that Barry has mentioned Rigondeaux. I do appreciate that before he said it that Frampton wasn't ready. That's fine. I think Frampton's proven he's clearly the second best in the division at the moment, and I think that they probably do mean it when they say they wouldn't mind facing Rigondeaux. I think that if Quigg doesn't happen, it wouldn't surprise me that if he was to go in with Rigondeaux, and it's not. I don't think it would be a complete foregone conclusion that we may have thought previously it would be a decent fight, especially with the power he brings and the vulnerability that we've seen from Rigondeaux, in terms of being downed even in the last 6 months.
Just before, I'm going to try and get Gary Hyde on the call shortly. I think he's taken a wee bit of umbrage as to what Barry McGuigan mentioned last night. The fact is that Carl Frampton is the number 1 super bantamweight in the world. Is he just blowing smoke up his arse, guys?
Well, he's got to go out and prove it. And like I said last night, if we're to believe the words that Barry says, they have the intention of proving it. If it turns out, which is always possible in boxing, that they're just talking rubbish and they don't have the intention to prove it, then that's when I'll have a problem with what Barry said last night. But on face value, it's the first time they've mentioned a Rigondeaux fight with any conviction. On face value, you've got to believe them, and if they are intent on proving it, brilliant.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, that's then. If it don't happen, then we have to give Barry McGuigan some shit.
Well, we'll see. But if Gary Hyde's got to give him some shit, I'm just trying to get him on the call just now. Here he is. Probably not pick up.
Hello.
Gary.
Yes.
It's Andy Patterson.
Hello, Andy. How you doing?
Not bad, mate. Did you get my message on Facebook? Okay, yeah.
Yes, I did. I got that.
Just very briefly, Gary. Just thanks for your time, mate. Just quick comments, if possible, mate. On I take it off Barry McGuigan's comments last night regards to Carl Frampton being the number 1 super bantamweight in the world. Obviously, it's now down to Carl to get out there and prove it. Give me your take on his first of all his performance last night, and then obviously secondly on Barry's comments.
Yeah, it was a very good performance, a flawless performance. I thought it was excellent, so fair play to him on that one. I gotta congratulate him on that. But Barry, there's no foundation for calling him the number 1 fighter in the world. He'd won defence against a fighter who is he? Who is Chris Avalos? He turned down a fight against Regan, though. So it's a bit early in the day now to be calling him the best fighter in the world,
Last night, Gary, have you managed to speak to Barry in any sort of way last night or today? I noticed you've been putting your phone number out and about trying to get him to call you. Has he been taking any calls from you, or is he just blanking you?
No, he's blanking me. I'll go so far as to say that I met him in the corridor. He passed me in the corridor near the changing rooms, and UTV they were just bringing me in for an interview on about Frampton and Rigondeaux, and Barry McGuigan passed me and wouldn't even make eye contact with me. I mean, it's his show. He was with a few people, and like he was ahead of all of them, and he just didn't even look at me. He just looked away from me as he was coming close to me. You know, so he's got no interest whatsoever in talking about Wigan now.
None whatsoever. So you really believe that fight is never going to happen, and we're just wasting our time talking about a potential fight?
It's never going to happen. Not when Barry Gwynn is in there. When he's the promoter, manager, and advisor and trainer, there's a whole thing, you know. So that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I did say to you, though, I think a couple of weeks ago when we spoke, that you did believe that Frampton would take the fight, but he's just been held back and protected.
Yes, but as you see, even since then, Frampton has said, even today again, but last week especially, he did put a release out that he was going to fight Quigg and then Rigondeaux. Now it's from last night. It's going to be Quigg, Santa Cruz, and Rigondeaux. Doesn't make sense. Brings nothing to the table. I mean, why? What doesn't he bring to the table like the Santa Cruz would bring to the table? You know, he brings 2 belts and the Ring Magazine champion. So he's the number one guy. So he brings everything to the table.
Well, he is one of my colleagues, David Lowback from America, he's claiming that any other title that the likes of Frampton holds, Scott Quigg, Leo Santa Cruz, is a fake title because the division has got a lineal champion, and that is Rigondeaux. That's
correct. That's bang on.
Any news on Rigo's next fight, Gary? Anything working on in the background?
You know, Shingo Wake won by knockout on Friday night.
Yeah, first round.
And it's Friday or Thursday night. But it's quite possible that fight that they'll be reaching out to us this week now. We'll be making contact with them as well. And the same guy who brought us over to fight Amagassi, he wants us back over to fight Shingo Wake in May or June. You know, so like you could be chasing a Frampton fight. I mean, without a doubt, Frampton is the fight there. I mean, he's filling the stadium, and in the summertime he would fill a football stadium. There's no doubt about that. You know, but and it makes more sense to fight someone like that. And Leo Santa Cruz won't fight us. And now it's the frightening thing is that the Frampton is not going to fight us either, because he'll say it and he'll shout it and he'll call the name, but his management team and his promotional team won't let him fight. So I mean, he can say he wants to fight Andre Ward or Floyd Mayweather. They're not going to let him fight, and that's the end of it, you know, which is very disheartening.
What else can you really feasibly do, Gary, in order to try and force the fight? I mean, is he going to have to start doing the black art stuff, you know, some sort of propaganda stuff in the press or something to try and get this fight forced through?
Yeah, but that's the only thing. I mean, like, for example, like with Scott Quigg, we can force that fight. He's a WBA champion, so we can force him to fight us, you know, and that's what we're going to do this week, and we're going to put a spanner in the works and make that fight happen, you know, because like Sam, they can't be picking whoever he wants to fight like that, you know. I mean, he's our man's challenger, and now we're going to call him to challenge us, you know. So that's one angle. The other angle then maybe with the WBC, we can go chasing a WBC silver belt and put ourselves in a mandatory position to fight Leo Santa Cruz. You know, but that all takes time, and I mean, we shouldn't. We're at this stage. We shouldn't have to be getting ourselves in mandatory positions to be fighting these guys. They should just be stepping up and fighting us, and that's it. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best.
That's true.
You know, at least fight the best.
That's true. Gary, just a final question. Any news on Hassan Ndam's IBF middleweight title shot? Any opponent, venue, and date set for that potential fight?
Yeah, well, you know, they said David Lemieux has accepted the fight, but this week Ivan Michel has written to HBO and to Golden Boy and to the IBF, and he's saying like that he's got a contract on Lemieux. We don't know how strong the contract is now, but he's saying he's got a contract on Lemieux, and he's just making things awkward now at the moment. So we hope that fight will come off. And it looks like it's going to be sometime in May.
Steve.
Gary, how's it going? Steve Wellings here.
Hello, Steve. How you doing?
Don't bite me, Gary. We're friends, Gary.
Yeah. Were you listening to me all the time now?
Yeah. I've been waiting to jump in, right? Rigondeaux's the number one at £122. There's no doubt about that in our minds.
Yes.
So,
Right.
say Frampton fights Quigg in June in the summer. It makes sense for them to, from a monetary perspective. They have unfinished business. They can generate good money. Say they fight each other in June, and then the winner, presumably Frampton, fights Rigondeaux towards the end of the year to sort of clear up the bullshit. You know what I mean? Regarding the belts, get rid of Quigg, get Frampton and Rigondeaux. The winners, the undisputed, Leo Santa Cruz can go and do his own thing. Would you have any objection to that scenario?
Yeah, I definitely would. I mean, why should we sit back and just wait on the sideline while Frampton lines his pockets? I mean, we're the super champion. We deserve Scott Quigg or Frampton. So if Frampton is not going to cooperate with us and play ball with us, well then we take Scott Quigg. You know, and I definitely would do everything in my power to stop that fight. You know, it's up to Quigg after. Maybe Quigg just walks away and he vacates the WBA regular title. You know, but I know he's not getting much credit off of Frampton for having it anyway. You know, but definitely, if he wants to keep on to his regular title, he has to fight us, or else, he just has to fight us or be stripped.
Mm-hmm. From your point of view, I can understand that, but I'm thinking about pushing. What am I trying to say here? We all want to see Frampton fight Rigondeaux, and if Frampton getting rid of Quigg meant that the Rigondeaux-Frampton fight was going to happen, then objective observers would like that to happen. Obviously, from your point of view, you don't give a shit about Quigg fighting Frampton. That's no interest to you. You're Rigondeaux's manager. That's your business. But from a general perspective, you know, if it's going to guarantee Frampton fighting Rigondeaux later in the year, then that's something I would like to see. You know, I would like to see Frampton fight Quigg. I know you wouldn't, but I would. Yeah. But nobody gives a shit what I think.
And I respect that. You know, that's fine by you. But as a Rigondeaux's manager, I want Frampton or Quigg next.
Exactly.
I want the next fight sorted out, not 2 fights down the road.
Yeah.
You know, a lot can happen in the end of it. A lot can happen in a fight. You know, so many things can happen between now and the end of the year. You know, to the next fight in, but I'll be fighting for. You know, and that's where I'm at. You know, I don't care about 2 fights down the road or 3 fights down the road. It's our next fight. You know?
Exactly. So where does Quigg sit in relation to Rigondeaux? Rigondeaux's the main man. He's the champion. So is Quigg some kind of mandatory or something? Or I mean, how does his belt fit in here?
He's regular champion. You know, he's regular champion. What happened is, you know, when Rigondeaux beat Donaire, then he went up to unified champion.
Yeah.
Then that vacated the regular title then, and then he went off. Then he fought for that. Rigondeaux beat Rico Ramos for the regular title, and then when he beat Donaire, he was the unified champion. So then he vacated it's just vacated. It's not like up to Rigondeaux to vacate it. He just go up then he becomes unified champion. You know, so then that belt, the belt that he won when he beat Rico Ramos, was up for grabs then, and I think that Scott Quigg might even have got a gift to that, or he might be upgraded from an interim champion to regular champion, wasn't it, Tom? Yeah, he was fighting Salinas for that one.
Yeah, that was the one we drew, wasn't it? So I got Andy, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Gary, just finally, what about, I don't know if you've had a chat with the WBA about potentially, maybe even like strumping up on top of Gareth Frampton and maybe get Rigondeaux the mandatory, or get Quigg as the mandatory challenger for Rigondeaux, and see if you can maybe try and, you know, force matters that way. Because obviously that's going to be a big money fight. You know, Frampton, Quigg's going to be a big money fight, or we think it's going to be a big money fight anyway. But if Rigondeaux can get in there first, beat Quigg, then that maybe even force Frampton's hand.
Yeah, well, you see, not even by choice, but Frampton, Quigg is Rigondeaux's mandatory challenger. So it's up to us then to call on that. So we've already called on it like 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, and Quigg said he had an injury. Now we've shown that he's not injured anymore, and it's just today actually that I pushed on that. So we're going to be banging the drums now this week and that, and forcing Quigg to fight us or he'll have to vacate. No, we obviously don't want him to vacate, you know. But like, so really, like we do something that'll be done Monday or Tuesday this week.
when they're Tuesday this week. Well, I think Eddie Hearn mentioned he's going to try and get talks going with McGuigan tomorrow, but a potential summer fight between Frampton and Quigg.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Gary, when we get you back on, mate, we'll know the landscape a little bit better. But thanks again for your time, mate.
700, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Gary.
Steve.
Cheers, mate.
See you, Gary.
Yeah, bye.
That was Gary Hyde. He must be hard going trying to get Rigo into a fight.
It must be so frustrating when you've got a guy so talented and all these other guys can go around calling themselves world champions. I mean, how long do we pull up with this that a guy can call himself a world champion yet won't go in with the best guy in the division? I mean, it's frustrating for us fans. Can you imagine how it is for the manager, the fighter, the trainers and the team around him? I mean, it's just the politics of this sport.
Yeah.
Well, that was the point that I was trying to get across. Sorry, lads. I know that from Gary's perspective, Rigondeaux's the man and all this, but I mean, he's like you said, he's sort of sitting out on his own at the moment. It's all right saying about like forcing this and forcing that, but nobody's can be forced to do anything in this sport because you can just sidestep and run around. So the point I was trying to make is if Quigg and Frampton sort their business out in the summer, then the winner is clearly there to fight Rigondeaux, and there's better chance of that fight happening then than because no WBA ain't going to force anybody to do anything.
Especially if Quigg has been active, Rigondeaux's struggling for a fight, so at least they're going to be getting some sort of income.
I mean, what Steve was saying was right, and I think deep down, if Gary was certain 100% that them two would fight and the winner would fight Rigondeaux, I think deep down he'd probably be fine with it. But I just feel he doesn't believe they'll ever fight him. That's what I think. You know, he said, you know, they're not going to make the fight. Barry won't want the fight, so he thinks they're going to fight Quigg, make a lot of money, beat Quigg, and they're going to still make the excuses and not fight Rigondeaux because they're going to be in an even stronger position then because they're going to have more, more exposure, more money on the table. So it's less likely to happen, in my opinion.
The only thing
they'll fight him, all right. They'll
once
just
he's shot,
because exactly, because he's 34 years old, and people even question whether or not that age is accurate, given that the Cuban system was notorious for lowering the ages of their most talented fighters so that they could stay in the Olympics for longer. So I personally think that they'll wait until they'll let him go up, have to chase fights at 126, get beat around. Even if he wins the fight, they'll get beat around by bigger guys. And when they start to see some signs of slippage, then they'll fight him. And they'll get credit, and their fans will eat it up because they don't know any better.
No, this year's the window. This year's the window. Sorry, Adam, I know I've dominated the conversation. I'll just say one more thing. This year's the window for Rigondeaux, I think, for his opponents. If they don't fight him within the window of this year, then it's a stain on the record. It doesn't matter when they fight him or if they don't fight him, it's a stain on the record. This year is the window for the fight.
100%
Fights
agree
with
with
Rigondeaux aren't even politics. Like, he's not going to be that much expensive. He is going to be prepared to travel. You know, it's not even a politics thing. It's just a simply running scared thing. And the more people like Gary Hyde speak out and show people deliberately and horribly ducking him, is the better. And I think, Gary should continue speaking out, and we love having him on. It's terrible, really. And the thing is, though, I might be well out of line here. I don't think the gap between Frampton and Rigondeaux is that big. Like, it's a competitive fight. He's going to be the obvious favourite. I'm not saying Frampton's going to win by any means. He's going to be the obvious favourite, Rigondeaux. But it's a competitive fight between probably the best two in the division. Obviously, we've got the best one and probably the second best. Just make it happen. Massive selling island. And I think on the Quigg thing, it stinks to me. I don't think that's going to happen either, because the Hearns are just going to insist that it's Sky pay-per-view. This Quigg versus Frampton is a fight for the future. It's not a cash-in fight on pay-per-view like, I don't know, Fighter A versus Fighter B. I know it's a lot different, but they're going to get the most money. They're both getting on. Frampton and Quigg, it's a big domestic fight. Will make waves on the international stage, and the winner really does go on to be massive. That's why it needs to be on ITV to the biggest audience. Not that there might be a million less in the pot if they fight on ITV rather than Sky pay-per-view, but it's the biggest audience and it'll be huge. And I think it's really good that the McGuigans have got onto ITV, and I think the Hearns will insist it needs to be on Sky pay-per-view, and it just won't happen, and it stinks.
I just think he has to keep doing what he's doing. If they can force the issue with the WBA, and they can force Scott Quigg to vacate, okay, they don't get the fight, but that will be a terrible look for Quigg and for Matchroom if he has to abandon his Toys R Us bout and make excuses why he isn't fighting the guy.
Well, see, this is the other thing as well. If Frampton beats Quigg and picks up that belt, then that's what I was kind of saying there. Maybe try and force the issue with the WBA and then see what Frampton's going to do. Because if anything, I don't see Frampton moving up in weight. I could see Quigg dumping the belt and running for the hills if that fight was ever to happen. But I find it weird because it's usually 18 months or 24 months, I think it is, between a super champion and a regular champion holding that fake shit, and then they basically get told to fight each other to unify the title again, and it's never happened for some reason with Scott Quigg and Regondo for some reason. But anyways, Steve, very briefly, mate, was there anything really worthwhile on that undercard? I didn't really watch it because I was kind of flipping back and forward, but I kind of watched the Box Nation card kind of from start to finish.
Very briefly, no.
That was brief.
Hey, Andy, I just think it's funny in the same week when we're talking about Scott Quigg basically wanting to duck the guy who was the super champion in the WBA. Up at 168, we have another regular champion.
Oh, yeah.
Who also made dump a bell.
Yep, we'll get to that. We will get to that. Adam's almost ready for the noose, I think.
I think there are other comparisons to be made between Rigondeaux and Andre Ward. And they're both of their styles are not exactly crowd pleasing, but there's a double standard in American media. I remember, I believe, after Rigondeaux schooled Donaire, you had Dan Raphael saying, "Oh, this was bullshit. This was boring. Whatever." Then when Andre Ward did a similar schooling on Edwin Rodriguez, he's like, "Oh, it was beautiful, punch perfect, brilliant,
masterpiece." Yeah. It was more like a fucking mantelpiece than a masterpiece, I'll tell you.
Well, I believe they're both great fighters, and it's just so disappointing that just because, I don't know, it's just because Rigondeaux's Cuban, just because he doesn't speak English, is that the only reason why they can't make something out of him? I mean,
pretty much, yeah.
You just wish that maybe HBO still took an interest in him, or maybe Showtime.
Yeah, HBO, Aram, they should have got behind him. He has so much talent.
Money. But even then, if he still had Aram or HBO behind them, that wee bit extra financial clout, they could maybe have forced the Quigg or Frampton fight a lot sooner, rather than this. We're at an impasse, Yep. If Quigg Frampton ends up on pay-per-view, that's a disgrace. I really want to see what these figures are going to be out for ITV. If these figures are good, then it really is the fight's going to happen on ITV. I mean, this you heard Lou DiBella saying last week, the market's it's contracting and it's shrinking, etc. Because pay-per-view and subscription channels isn't the way to go. It's going to be on terrestrial television, and that's why he was kind of saying that Al Heyman's doing the right thing by getting more boxing back onto the free TV network. But moving on.
Sorry, Steve. On the undercard, they're shocking again, which they've got a habit of doing for Frampton one. But we had two screens on at my friend's last night, no commentary. But I saw Denton Vassell was downed and really struggling against someone I couldn't recognise. What was the result of that fight?
He lost on points. He got dropped in the 10th and he got dropped in the 12th, and he lost a wide points decision to Plotnikov. I think Vassell's finished, isn't he?
He was a big price as well. That we saw a little bit of money for that opponent yesterday, Vassell's opponent. None of the money was mine, but obviously it was smart money. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, he didn't do that well. Dillian White wasn't really that impressive either.
The other bloke.
They chucked them two on. They said because of ITV, they wanted obviously the English audience didn't know about any of the Irish boxers. But to be honest, those two fights just sort of died a death. The place was like a morgue.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I heard Dillian White's opponent just quit. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Stoppage, was it not? I never saw it.
Yeah, White was angry.
I saw him tweeting it was a rubbish fight, and that he says that about his own fight. He's probably mad.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to the Box Nation card, Tyson Fury basically had it all his own way against Christian Hammer, dropped him in the 5th round with a right hand. He eventually forced Hammer to quit at the end of the 8th. I think he actually wanted to quit the fight before that, actually. In all honesty, I get a wee bit of feedback there. Anyways, guys, this new version of Fury that we're being entertained to just now, to be honest, I find it really, really hard on the eye just now. I mean, he's very languid, he's long, and he's very economical just now with his punches, but I really don't know last night if it was just he was fighting down to level his opposition, he was clowning around, he was switching stances, flicking out the jab. I think he needs to be a bit more authoritative with that jab. But he's certainly been a wee bit more patient anyway. He's not getting involved in big massive tear-ups like he used to, taking unnecessary punches and stuff. Before we do get Asif on to cover the heavyweight section, which Asif will need to limit you to 5 minutes this week, mate. But Kurt, I think you're also along the same lines as me, that you're really not impressed with this new version of Tyson Fury.
No, I mean, it's not doing much for the crowd, is it, to be honest? They're not very happy with it. I mean, he's fighting guys. I mean, fair enough, he fought Chisora in his last fight, but Chisora turned up, he looks done at the sport. I mean, that's nothing to do with Fury. Fury handled him and did what he had to do. But he's definitely having a more patient approach. I mean, and for a guy who's, for the last couple of years has really laid into Vladimir Klitschko, both Klitschko brothers, for being boring. He's kind of doing a similar thing, except whereas Vlad's got the power and can end the fight any time, but he still likes to take his opponent's heart, softens him up. That's what Tyson Fury's doing, but he hasn't got that power. So you're stuck with it round after round after round, with the opponent taking a beating, not being in the fight at all. But unless they quit, the fight's probably going to go long. And Chisora quit, and now this guy quit, but he just hasn't got that power at the top level. And for a big guy, you'd think he'd have more, but he just doesn't. And he's boxing well, but he's boxing well against very limited guys at the moment. So we're still yet to see him in with a top guy who can punch hard, I think. And he wants the Vladimir fight, and I hope that happens, because I think that'll be a really good fight. There'll be a lot of interest in it. It's two big guys going at it, and Fury can obviously sell himself well, and he'll talk a lot of shit in the build up, and that'll be good for the heavyweight division, I think.
I suppose we kind of hating him too much. I mean, that's what I do say. Chisora would be classed a top 10 world heavyweight, dominated him. I don't know where you're going to rank Christian Hammer in the round about the world rankings. I know he's WBO number 4 or something like that. I don't know what it is, but we all knew that Hammer was shit. He dominated them regardless. But the thing is, he is doing it against smaller heavyweights. We're not hating on him too much here, I don't think. But the fact of the matter is, we need to see him doing this against guys his own size, with his own, someone who can maybe take his reach out to play, same height as him, all the physical attributes that Tyson Fury's got. He needs to face someone with a similar size. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I've never once rated Deontay Wilder, but I think Fury's in for a world of problems with that fight. Adam?
I thought Fury was disappointing last night. We know, as mentioned, we know the position he's been in. I'll give him a pass on the Chisora performance, i.e. the disciplined approach. I think Southpaw for a lot of it. Grinding out a win for the mandatory slot last night, not good enough really in terms of. I mean, I know Frank mentions getting Vladimir over. It ain't happening, but in the massive long shot that it does happen, Fury needs to be putting on better performances than last night, quicker stoppages performances than last night, singing Elvis at the end of a fight in front of a darkened room with 2,500 people there. He's not going to get Klitschko over. But if they're turning it into a potential crossover star in this country, possibly would. Last night wasn't good enough, and Tyson Fury on that form is in danger of if what happens, if they drag him out, if they drag the mandatory position out, Klitschko could do it for, he's the gaffer, he's the boss in the situation. We could see Fury lose in the ring against someone not called Klitschko or Wilder, and that'll be disappointing.
Dave, you want to mention maybe he's fighting down to the level of his opponent, but Adam makes a good point there. Is the fact is, if he keeps hanging around about this level and he then goes up to the very top level, he could maybe just be found slightly wanting because he's had it so easy over the last couple of fights.
Yep, that's why I was very against this Hammer fight. I mean, he should have been fighting someone like Ustinov. I mean, the guy's just he's seen at least a Vlad opponent. Why not fight Pulev? Why not fight somebody who Vlad's fought, fight Povetkin?
He had the chance of fighting Pulev, but never took the fight for some reason.
I want to see him step up, like now. I like Fury, and I like his speed. I like his tenacity. I think he's got a good chance of beating Vlad. But he needs to step up now. I mean, and quickly stay active. He wasted so much time of his career. It wasn't all his fault. David Hay ducked him twice blatantly with fake injuries or whatever the hell he was his excuses. Then Chisora injured himself that fight got put off. I mean, he's been in a slump, and he needs to get back active. I want to see him fighting every 2 months and looking good doing it. And I want to see him stepping up in opposition, because that opponent last night was just awful. He looked fine to me. He barely got touched, and he hit the guy at will. He doesn't really have power, so it took a while to get him out of there. But it was fine. The opponent was awful.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing the Maris Wack fight. I think that guy's chin, etc., would make a good fight. Same height. I mean, he hurt Klitschko in the 5th round. I mean, I think that guy would bring out a good fight in Tyson Fury. But I think Fury's now at the pass, whereas it's all about keep winning, keep active. It doesn't matter how he does it until he gets that fight. But I've often said, I really don't think he keeps going on about that that Vlad is ducking him, this, that, and the next thing. I honestly believe Fury could have had a world title shot long before now. For some reason, he's just dragging shit out for some reason. I really don't know what the problem is, but I think just like we said about Rigondo, if he doesn't get the fights between Frampton and Quigg this year, if Fury doesn't fight Vlad or Wilder this year, then he must be waiting for something to happen with Klitschko before he then goes for him.
I think as we stand now, he gets knocked out by both Wilder and Klitschko.
Anyways, moving down the card, guys. Now I don't know who saw it. I know Kurt maybe seen this fight. Chris Eubank Jr. He was involved, practically an 11.5 round marathon punch out fest, because it was actually insane the amount of punches that Eubank Jr. threw there last night. It wasn't all plain sailing though. Even though if you look at it, I don't think I gave Chudinov a round there last night. It was quite one-sided if you think about it that way, but at least in terms of rounds, at least it looked like he swept them. But Chudinov, he just refused to be dominated there for last night. Even though he's pretty shit in all honesty, he's kind of flat-footed, he's kind of square on, but at the same time, Eubank just fucking tore into him from round after round after round, and you're kind of like, at one point you thought that maybe he was going to gas himself out, but in the 12th round you're still throwing punches. And to be honest, I'm starting to warm to Eubank Jr. now, because you turn to the crowd and he's pointing to the crowd and he says, "Listen, give this guy some respect now," because he just couldn't put a dent in him. He was cut, he was bleeding obviously, but just couldn't put him down. And the thing is with Eubank, there is a lot of work in progress still there. I mean, he needs to work on that. Uppercut slightly, and a few combination punches. I mean, I think he wastes a lot of punches at the same time. Maybe it's because of lack of amateur experience, but at the same time, I think he's proven now that he's got a lot there, and just needing some fine tuning.
Well, it was obvious that Chudinov didn't come in to roll over, but that's obviously quite clear. But from the outset, it was clear for all to see that he was just too slow and too flat-footed for Eubank. But I mean, some of the punches that he took some big punches throughout the fight. It was my only serious bet last night was that fight not to go the distance. So either man KO would have done. But yeah, with a minute to go, the ref gave me a heart attack. I think I watched the replay once. I think Eubank threw, I'm not saying he landed them all, obviously, threw 35 unanswered punches, and I was screaming for the ref to step in, and then I think Chudinov spit his gum shield out, and then the ref broke him up, and that's when Eubank made the gesture to the crowd, and I thought, oh well, that's it, I've done my dough here, because Eubank's going to say he's tried his hard, probably gassed a little bit, to be fair, and just going to coast it. I think there was 53 seconds left when the stoppage actually came. So yeah, thanks to Eubank Jr. for putting his foot on the pedal again. I think it was 23 punches forced the ref to step in the second time. So
well,
I mean, imagine that. I mean, we can make comments about English refs, but I mean, you can imagine how long that fight would have probably been over in the first half if it was.
I don't know.
One of our English refs.
I don't know if you caught the issue just before the fight, Adam. That fight was potentially in jeopardy because the Russians were promised the non-British officials, which I've got no problem with after the last couple of fights or last couple of months, but we've seen anyway. The British Board of Control were saying is it had to be a British referee, Terry O'Connor. Now, if he would have been in charge, you'd have got your money well before the 12th round last night.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm still not that impressed with Eubank. I think he thinks he's a bigger puncher than he is. I think that's pretty clear. I think he was getting caught with quite a few last night. and I don't like all the posturing. He's still got them habits. I think he'll be an entertaining fight. The Billy Joe fight was obviously, good to watch. Last night was even better to watch, just through pure dominance. But yeah, I'm not completely sold on him. Not quite sure where he goes from here. And please remind me, I've got a value of the week in regard to this fight as well.
I can see why they didn't want Terry O'Connor. I think they knew that they were going to ship a lot of punches. That they're shooting off the team. They knew that he was going to put the pressure on, keep coming forward. His defence is pretty much non-existent, and Terry O'Connor would have stopped that fight earlier, and we wouldn't have had. It was a one-sided fight. I mean,
Warren was shouting for it to be stopped at one point in that 12 round. I rewatched
to be honest,
it back.
you can see that as well because he was taking a pasting, but I think if you look at that card, you had two one-sided fights in the main events, but this one was exciting because Shudinov just never stopped coming forward, and he was landing his shots, to be fair. Even though he took a beating in most of the rounds, he was landing his own shots, and Eubank was pretty much open because Eubank was just happy to try it, and I think Eubank impressed me with the fact that now he knows he can do the 12. This is the problem. He said after the fight, the lack of knowing that he could do the 12 cost him the Billy Joe Saunders fight, and this is the problem with padding your record. If he had done the 12 rounds before that fight, we might have seen a loss for Billy Joe, but he went into it reserving his energy until the later rounds because he wasn't sure, and that's what cost him the fight. The first 5 rounds he did absolutely nothing, but now he knows he can do them. He's happy to trade punches, and it was a great one-sided fight, and you don't really see them that often. And Shudinov was as game as they come. He was limited, but he tried to win the fight as best he could, and he just couldn't get it done in the end. Eubank was just simply too fast. I mean, he would throw 4 or 5 punches, and Shudinov was still getting his off. And yeah, I mean, you can see why they didn't want the Terry O'Connor, because he definitely would have stopped it, I believe. But I think that fight probably should have been stopped. But once he was in the 12th round, I think he was stopped with about 40 seconds left. You might as well have just let it go then, I think, because he wasn't going to get stopped then. He was just going to keep coming. And yeah, Eubank, I thought he was impressive against a limited opponent, but I said it on Twitter, I do believe that he would beat Billy Joe in a rematch, but it would be close.
Yeah, well, I know the bookies have now got Eubank as a slight favourite for that fight. Just before we do get a C-phone, I want to very briefly touch upon this fight. It was absolute shit. Just watching Tony Thompson beat Orlania Solis in a rematch in Turkey on Friday night. Solis was so bad, so out of shape. I know he has never been a ripped heavyweight in the pros, but he looked like he'd aged 10 years since the first fight. But he was that fucked at the end of the 8th round. He couldn't even sit down. It was
I've never seen that before. A fat person who's too fat to sit down. I mean, usually they're desperate to sit down, but he just literally couldn't. He couldn't move anything. I mean, he was just so tired, and he just looked like he just had enough, and he just didn't care about boxing at all. I mean, I think you'd gathered that when you saw the weight that he came in at, 272 pounds, I believe, which is just a joke. And to be honest, you could see why his promoter was just furious with him and looked like he wanted to lay him out in the ring, to be honest.
Do you know what though? Hats off to Thompson, because I can't believe he's getting paid a lot of money for that fight. He's gone over there. I think that's the second time he's beat him. He's not exactly got a mandatory slot out of it, etc., etc. So hats off to him at his age to still be travelling to far-flung places and getting the win. Well done.
The doctor of all things heavyweight is now on the call. Asif, mate, give us your breakdown. So unfortunately, we need to limit your time this week because we've got a few callers wanting on. We've got a shitload of questions to get through. So off you go, mate.
Yeah, no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
Yes, I'll be quick. There's quite a lot to get through, so I'm just going to head them out one by one. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen quite a lot of heavyweight fights. Over the weekend, we saw Tyson Fury. He did what he had to do, 10 rounds stoppage. It was what I expected. He didn't look amazing, but I think he still got a lot in the tank. I think he only gave about 50%. So I think, although it wasn't an exciting to watch, I still think it got a lot in the bank to use. The best match of the weekend was the Hollis against Thompson for me. Hollis came in at 273 pounds and he was completely gassed out, and he refused to come out for I think the 10th round. And Tony Thompson won in the rematch, so he may go on to a bigger fight. The only problem now with Tony Thompson is the fact that Solis's manager now has options on Tony Thompson, so we'll see what happened with that. Other fights happened. over the weekend. Dylan White won. He was expected to win. He looked okay, but I think he was a bit upset that he didn't get to finish him off in style. He was a bit upset that the referee stopped it the way he did. But I'm sure he'll get another chance. Just very briefly, a couple of weeks ago, we saw David Price win. He did what he had to do. It didn't look that great, but just to put it on record, David Price, in my opinion, is probably just a European level fighter. I don't think he goes above that really, especially at his age. And then Chris Fury, he did quite well a couple of weeks ago. He beat Andrei Rudenko. He won every round. He looked really, really good, and he's only 20 years of age. I know Peter Fury mentioned that they're looking to get in the next fight possibly Manuel Char, and I forgot his name, but they're looking to step him up quite good now, which is quite good. I like Peter Fury's attitude. He doesn't piss about. He says it like it is, and he doesn't hold him back. You know, if he wants to make Fury into a better boxer, he's gonna get him fighting better guys, and I think that's the way forward. There are a few of the fights over the weekend, but I'm not going to go too much into them because there's quite a few fights coming in the next 2 weeks as well. Obviously, in a couple of weeks' time, we've got Glasgow against Cunningham for the IBF Eliminator. So just before people say something in 6 months' time, the winner of this fight is mandatory for Vladimir Klitschko. I've got a feeling it's going to be a very close fight. I can't predict it. Cunningham's style is all wrong for Glasgow. The longer the fight goes, Glasgow will win. But it's going to be difficult to predict that fight, so I'm sitting on the fence. Chris Ariola is going to return in a couple of weeks. No opponent has been named yet, but he's going to be on the undercard of the Andre Berto card. And also who's fighting in a few weeks, You've got Robert Manius coming in fighting on March 21st. No opponent named yet. Manis Wak is fighting in a couple of weeks' time against some journeyman. So there's quite a few active heavyweights, but no real standout fights really, apart from the Glasgow and the Steve Cunningham fight. And yes, also another fight that's been, speaking of the WBA, they've basically asked for Shagayev and Lucas Brown for purse bids to be to try and negotiate a deal before purse bids. So I'm sure Lucas Brown is going to be chuffed with this. It'll be an interesting fight. It'll be interesting to see what shape Shagayev comes in. He's kind of let himself go now. He comes in about 250 now, 255 pounds. When he fought Vladimir Klitschko, he was 224. So he has put on about 20-30 pounds now since he was at his peak. Brown's he's got determination. I think he's quite limited in skill. I think Shagayev might just have enough skill and experience to beat Brown, but we'll see what happens with that fight. And that's about it really. Obviously there's quite a bit to talk about, but I don't want to go into too much. I'm just going to cover the important parts, which I feel I've covered in this time. What I will say is, I think to Donny really, I think Donny criticized Tyson Fury, saying that he needs to step up and he needs to fight the best. I think he has fought some okay people. I think Tyson Fury is allowed to do what everybody else does. I think Tyson Fury is allowed to do what Chris Ariola did. He's allowed to do what Deontay Wilder did, and that's fight shit people before fighting a title shot. So if anybody else can do it, I'm pretty sure Tyson Fury is entitled to that as well. And I know they mentioned, why does he fight Maris Wack? If you go on YouTube and find sparring between Scottish boxer Gary Cornish and Maris Wack, you'll find Gary Cornish getting the better of Wack. So you can find that on YouTube. Maris Wack is tall, but people say Tyson Fury should fight a tall boxer. There's no point fighting a tall boxer if he's shit, because it doesn't make a difference. Yes, you want to fight somebody to get you prepared for Vladimir Klitschko, but it's got nothing to do with height. It's to do with the level of competition. I'm not saying Hammer was the perfect opponent for preparation, but I think if people get too much, they fuss too much about, fight a tall guy. It doesn't mean anything. Pat Fields the boxer Tarfield, if people remember him, he was 6'7". Michael Grant was tall, but they were shit. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, really.
No worries, mate. Cheers for that.
No problem.
Cheers, Sif.
All the best, mate.
Right.
I think we're coming on the call shortly. We've got is it Ruben? I think.
First time caller.
Ruben Carter. Then Cameron, and we've got two Pauls. Is it Paul McAllister or Eddie Chance? No.
One, yeah.
He's been kind of laying low recently, hasn't he?
He has. I think he's happy after.
Just on the back
loss,
of.
though.
He was raging after a day's defeat anyway, after the Everton game. Sorry, Adam, what you saying, mate?
Sorry, just on the back of as if saying about Hughie Fury might fight Manuel Chotta, we could be in a position whereby Hughie is going to be fighting better opposition than Tyson this year.
Yeah. It's possible. So Ruben joined the call here. Ruben Hemmings. We've got a knockdown, Kurt. Ruben, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Good night, good weekend of boxing.
Yeah, it was a good night for a change, yeah. What's on your mind about it?
Well, I've got a bit of feedback.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're on Mixler, that's why.
Good weekend of boxing. Oh, yeah, sorry, let me just go off
For a
that.
change, yeah. What's on your mind about it?
Well, I've got a bit of feedback. 1 second, let me just get rid of this.
You're on Mixler, that's why.
Oh, yeah, sorry, let me just go off that.
For a change, yeah. What's on your mind about it?
Yeah, Eubank, I do like Chris Eubank. The refereeing was absolutely shocking. I thought the refereeing was disgusting with the Eubank fight because constantly getting punched in the back of the head, constantly on his opponent's side. He's just the fight should have been stopped way too early, way earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. I think they said after the fight as well. I think Jim Rosenthal says, you got to give the champion every chance at it, I suppose. But then at the same time, he wasn't really doing nothing. He did have his hands up. He kept coming forward. He wasn't going to go without. Well, I think Barry Jones said that he wasn't going to leave that ring unless it was going to be on a stretcher or unless he was stopped. I said Frank Warren says that he was wanting that fight stopped as well. There was absolutely no need for that fight to go on past 8 rounds because
he wasn't throwing any punches back at all.
He was way slow, he was ponderous, and he was miles behind on points.
There was no need to. It gets to the point where it gets dangerous for me. I don't. I mean, I know we criticise so many British fighters for stopping fights early, but that should have been stopped. That should have been stopped way earlier.
Kurt, do you agree that should have been stopped earlier?
The Eubank shooting fight. Yeah. I think it just got to a point where it was just, pointless because the guy was just taking too many punches. He couldn't win the fight, and it was just a beating in the end. I mean, once you let him go to the 12th round, then I just thought, well, let him go. But I think, it should have been stopped a few rounds before that.
Ruben, what would you want to see from Eubank now? You said that you like him, you're a bit of a fan of him. What do you want to see from Eubank next?
I'd like him to stay around the British scene a little bit longer. I mean, I say I like him, but I like I suppose he's entertaining more than anything, but he hasn't proved anything. And I think if he stayed at the British level a little bit longer, just to prove himself a little bit more to the people that are hating on him for having a bad record, and then maybe try and move on from there.
The thing is, I think he did say he's a Marmite fighter. You either like him or you don't. But at the same time as last night, he came into the ring and to booze and then left with massive cheers. I think he won a few fans there last night. But I agree with you. I want to see him stay. Maybe I'd rather see him fight at Euro level just now. His amateur experience is pretty well. It's pretty low. I think he'll had something like 22 fights. So this is going to be a guy who's going to be learning on the job basically. So I think he needs to have a few more building up fights and should be kind of staying at European level because he's now in the crosshairs now. He's got WBA trinket, so to speak. You just don't know if he's going to end up going into deep waters, and he shouldn't be there. Because I think his dad even admitted last night that he's maybe slightly overhyped him a little bit.
No. I think it's time to see Eubank Golovkin next for a great unification. Please.
The thing I didn't like as well is he started faster than he did against Billy Joe, but it was still a slow start. And as soon as he found himself dominant, he just started taking it too easy. And the ending was good, but I think the round previous he was just walking around the ring, and I know he's a showman, but his He as soon as he found dominant, he was too chilled for me.
Anything else you want to finish off on, Ruben?
I thought the Tyson Fury fight was just absolutely diabolical. It was just painful. I like Tyson Fury outside the ring. I think he's very entertaining. The weigh-in was quite funny, but to watch, he's just painful. I did like how as soon as he sits down in the corner, he's just straight away listening to his uncle Peter Fury. You can tell he's got a lot of discipline, more discipline than he shows. But to me, he's too hard to watch.
No worries, mate. Thanks a lot for that.
No worries. Thanks,
Cheers, mate. Thanks
for
for calling in there.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers, mate. Coming up next, I think we've got Kurt. What happened there, Kurt? Was it just Mixer that went down with your internet?
It was either Mixer or my shitty internet, and now I'm getting grief now. I think we need Alex to take over the duties.
Alex can't even get a fucking mic to work. What chance is he going to get?
Yeah, I think we've got Cameron now to add.
Worry about anyone that's missed any comments there. You'll hear it on the download section of the podcast once it's available a little later on. So Cameron's coming on next, and after that we'll go into Twitter questions for a wee bit, and then we'll get the other two callers on.
I think on Fury, if this is the type of performance we're going to see from him as he waits for Klitschko, I would rather not see him in the ring and just see him training, to be honest.
He's certainly not going to sell any tickets or get any new fans anyway by fighting like
I don't normally encourage fighters to sit on the position and sit on the sidelines, but that might be what Fury actually needs. Because, like I say, he is obviously being a heavyweight and vulnerable as he is actually in danger of losing.
Just while we're waiting for Cameron to come on, Jack, where would you like to see Eubank go after this fight?
That's a good question.
I think it's got to be European level. I think really picking up that title last night, putting himself into world, I don't know if you want to say world level contention. You know, he beat a guy there last night who's probably well on the fringe of world title level.
What title did he win?
Interim WBA middleweight title.
Is that something you can defend? I mean, can they find somebody to defend against you?
Yeah, apparently. See, the thing is, the WBA are claiming to create these titles because it gives the chance for, say, like a guy, I don't know, the outer reaches of fucking Russia or something like that to fight for a title and maybe make a wee bit of money, etc. But that's what we're going to like. Cameron, you there, mate?
I'm here.
How you doing?
Are you? I'm alright, mate. I'm spot on.
Good stuff. What do you want to discuss?
I'd just like to say that I really enjoy the show. I find it massively entertaining.
Thank you.
But there is a few interesting things what I would just like to ask the American.
Oh, here we go. Two on the show, actually.
Well, it's the Amir Khan lover.
Donnie.
Are you there?
Go ahead.
Well, I just really, to be honest, I don't understand your love for Amir Khan at all. Like, the whole of England, apart from, obviously, Christine, despises him. Unless you're, a girl of an Asian background. So I really don't understand your love for him.
Well, I mean, why? I think I would flip the question and say, why don't you like him? I mean, number one, he's really exciting. He has really fast hands. He does things that, he throws 7 and 8 punch combinations, the kind we haven't seen since Roy Jones. And his one vulnerability, his one, sort of negative point is his chin. But if you hate him, that's good. It means he can get knocked out. And number two, if you love him, I mean, that means you can't leave your television because even though he might be winning the fight 11 rounds to nothing, you know that he is always in danger of being stopped. So, I mean, he can either put on a dazzling performance or he could lose spectacularly. And
Hold on a minute. Did you just liken Khan to Roy Jones?
Value of the week.
In terms of hand speed, yeah, absolutely.
The guy is absolutely useless.
Khan's got more balls. He fights the best.
Yeah,
Roy
he fight like
the best. He hasn't even had a fight
for 10 years. Doesn't find a fucking guy worth shit. Kelberg doesn't fight nobody, and Khan runs through 10 champions or former champions. I mean, he never gets the respect or the love that some of these other guys get. It's insane.
He doesn't get the respect because he's fighting 140-pound fighters at 147. That's why he don't get respect. Plus, Devin Alexander is a has-been, really. He had his 5 minutes of fame, and now it's gone. That's it.
So
I don't think he was a good opponent at all.
So Devin Alexander was a champion at welter. Maidana was a former 140-pounder. Does that mean that that Floyd shouldn't get credit for beating him because he came up from 140. Tim
No,
Bradley.
Tim
Bradley was at 140 pounds, and Manny Pacquiao beat him twice at 147. And that's a big part of why Manny has the pound-for-pound status back, was because he avenged the BS defeat against Bradley, where he pulled Bradley up from 140 pounds, another small guy. I mean, everybody has to come from somewhere. Everybody's going to move up a weight division. And the fact is, Luis Collazo came down from 154 to fight him.
Amir Khan himself came up from 135, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Cameron, what were you going to say, mate?
Well, Amir Khan's a bell end. The long short, or whatever, however you want to look at it. I mean, I don't think he's a good fighter at all. He's entertaining because there's always a chance of him to get knocked out, but apart from that, he's hopeless.
But Cameron, explain to Donny why a lot of British fight fans don't take to Amir Khan.
I just think it's his bullshit, his general bullshit, what he chats constantly. And the fact that he wanks over any girl possible over Skype, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I get that he talks a lot of BS.
All right, Donny, I'll put this to you, yeah. Would you let your mum have a conversation with Amir Khan over Skype?
I'd be honoured.
I bet you probably would, you perv and all. I bet you probably would.
Well, Cameron, I'll be putting it forward officially that we have you 5 minutes every other week, alternate to Asif, for some Amir Khan hating, because I love you. Yeah, Khan hate segment. I'll join you every week. Brilliant.
I'll tell you one thing, Cameron. If the Brook fight gets made, mate, I'm going to allow you to be your first caller to come on here and let it rip.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's great. But also, I'm afraid to say I'm not really a Froch lover either.
I'll retract that.
I know the Froch lover piped up there, but
get him off.
Edit that bit out. You do hear a lot of stories about Froch that he's incredibly tight as well. Have you heard this? He won't even lend his brother Lee a fiver if he asks him.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't lend him one, would you?
Lee Froch?
He's a fucking knobhead. He's a knobhead. Anything else you want to discuss, Cameron?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Is there a reason why this caller seems to hate everybody who has just these really amazingly hot wives?
Here we go.
It's just you, Donny. You annoy me. You're American. I think he's just a player hater. American fighters. Don't be. No one in England likes Khan, so I don't know why you want to.
I think what a lot of what Donny says is actually trolling some of the times, but then sometimes I actually believe half of what he says. He actually thinks about is actually true. But anyways, cheers for that, Cameron, mate.
Will you put the show up on the podcast tonight?
Kurt Wynn.
Yeah,
probably tonight.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, lads. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, lads.
All the best.
Cheers, Cameron.
Then we've got Paul McAllister coming on next. I imagine he'll be in a depressed state now, Kurt, because of what happened today. His team got to be depressed. I mean, he's calling for Martinez to get sacked, all this sort of stuff.
I was in Paul Mac's neck of the woods as well today.
Did you manage to get out with your wheels still intact?
Yeah, everything was intact. I'll tell you what though, seriously, the main car park in Liverpool Docks is the most expensive car park I've ever been in. It's ridiculous. Not that anyone cares, but...
It's been Paul coming in. What we're running at just now?
About an hour and 15 minutes, I'd say.
Okay. Paul!
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
I'm okay.
You sound depressed after that performance today?
Oh, I called on here to forget about that, man. Come on.
Alright, okay. Briefly, mate, what's on your mind then?
Just want to talk about Eubank, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
I really took to him last night. He really made a fan of me. I used to not like him at all. I thought he was just a dickhead, and he wasn't very good, and his dad chats a lot of shit, but he really won me over with that performance last night. This will be one that Kurt likes. He turns babyface, shall we say.
That's a wrestling expression, is it not?
Yeah, Kurt will like that one. He turned good guy for me.
Yeah, it's like what you said earlier, Andy. I mean, he was like, a lot of people like giving him a bit of stick, but at the end of the fight, I think they started cheering him and appreciated the way he fought, to be honest. I mean, he gave them the value for money, didn't he?
Certainly did. I mean, I agree with you, Paul. I mean, last night he started making me a bit more a believer in him, actually. I still think there's something there to work with. I just think, I wouldn't want to push him on too soon. Obviously, I think if you look at it, it's going to be building the experience on the job, basically.
Yeah, definitely. He's got that WBA trinket now, hasn't he? He's probably going to defend that a few times against some Euro level opponents, and I think that's not a bad thing at the moment because he's no way near ready for Golovkin. Let's just get that read straight. He's not going to fight Golovkin, but as much as I'd like to see him fight some British guys, I don't really think any are available, are they? Spike O'Sullivan has gone over to America, I believe. Nick Blackwell, I think, is apparently going to have a rematch with Billy Joe, but that's being talked about. And Macklin is obviously still with Matchroom, so that can't be done. So I don't really think there are many British opponents who are around for him at the moment. So the next best thing is just fight some European level guys. Maybe one name that jumps out at me is, what's his name, Dominico Spada.
I think he fought Darren Barker.
Fought Darren Barker for the European title, and I think he fought Martin Murray not so long ago.
It'd be a horrible fight, wouldn't it, that between them two?
Well, I was thinking, what about this name? I mean, although he got destroyed in 2 rounds, what about Marco Antonio Rubio?
If he can make weight.
Yeah, true.
Maybe that would be too big of a jump at this stage for me, because I know Rubio just quit against Golovkin, but he's still a world level fighter for me, and I don't think Eubank's quite there yet.
Sorry, Paul. I was just going to say Spada would be a horrible fight for him stylistically, but a decent name on the record, like so.
Yeah, and it would be a learning fight too, wouldn't it? Because come on, he's past the point now, just knocking over bin men. Who cares? Even if he has a not very good fight to watch on the eye, at least he'll develop something and he'll learn something from it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what he needs to be doing now. What was I going to say? I know his dad's a bit of a lunatic, a bit of a Fruit Loop, but I thought he kind of got his act together a little bit last night as well in the corner. He wasn't just standing there posing, was he? He was actually giving him some advice he could work with, and he seems a bit more animated, which was good to see.
No problem. Well. Yeah, anything else you want to cover?
There's no point really, is it? You've already said everything there is to say about Frampton, and Fury's fight was so bad that I turned Jonathan Ross on and watched him speak to Thierry Henry instead. So,
I'd have done the same if I knew that was on. I'm a big fan of Henry.
Thierry Henry. Anyway, Paul, cheers for your call, mate.
Cheers, lads.
All the best, mate. Cheers.
Quick question.
What?
Eubank and Adam Etchers, how far apart are they?
I don't know. I mean, I've not really seen much of Adam Etchers, no honesty, mate.
I really like him.
Yeah, a big good fight that would.
I really like Adam Etchers.
So I think we've got one more caller coming on, then we'll get right into the Twitter question. What I'm going to do the Twitter questions, guys, rather than create debate, if I give you a question, just answer it as best as possible, and then we'll move on to the next question rather than to hang about and discuss, because I think we're going to be running quite late this week. And I do want to have a wee bit of a fight review for next week, because we've got a shitload of fights coming out of our ass next week. One time Furman and all that, and a car from Macau. Paul, if you're listening, mate, just join the call, pal. I think there's one of the questions you'll need to create a bit of a debate on actually as well, so we'll need to wait. Paul, you there?
Hey mate, can you hear me?
How you doing, mate? I can hear you fine, yeah. What's on your mind?
I'm going to have a bit of a nail at Warren tonight.
Alright.
Have you seen the state of the card?
Nothing that's going to get us into legal problems though.
No, but have you seen the state of the card Friday?
What card is that again? Yeah, let me see.
Paul Butler.
Paul Butler.
Alright, yeah.
There's 3 fighters still without an opponent.
James Dickens against Josh Whale, Liam Smith, Kevin Satchel. I see Jack Carroll's back in action.
Yeah.
CBI's busy, isn't he?
See, I looked yesterday, just thought I'd have a look, and I saw there was 3. Right, Matthews, you would give it a benefit of doubt, but how long ago was it that Abril dropped out? It's got to be 3-4 weeks.
It's been rescheduled though, hasn't it?
Yeah, but he's still fighting on Friday, so...
Oh, he's fighting... Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so he could have still chucked any idiot in, even though I still whinge about that, but it's someone. Kevin Satchel, his opponent pulled out 4 weeks ago, nothing. Liam Smith, he's never had an opponent.
Agreed, yeah.
But I don't know what the crack is with Liam Smith. He should go out, he needs to leave, but I get the feeling that he's staying with Frank.
Yeah, he signed a new contract recently, I think, that they not.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I think they was looking at the Bundridge fight until Cotto got involved. They was looking at the Bundridge fight, I believe.
For Liam Smith?
Yes.
Like Frank to go down the IBF route. To be honest, Paul, I mean, even with some of those fighters who's got the TBAs and stuff, do you still think that card is well, I wouldn't say. I would say probably better than the Sky card next Saturday.
Oh,
the Sky card's
card is
shocking.
shit. Yeah, the Sky card is terrible, but you've got to judge them by the same. And the Sky card's shit, but this is equally as bad. Josh Whale is shit. Gavin McDonald beat him and then fought him the next time. He thought it was an easy fight, so he made Whale look like a world beater when he's just shite. Stewie Hall dealt with him pretty easily as well. Dickens will absolutely smash him.
I'm expecting a big performance from Dickens, and Dickens' price with the bookies is not short enough. Dickens is only 1 to 3, should be shorter than that.
But then you've got Tom Sawker in a 6. That's going to be just 6 rounds of Sawker doing it. He can't punch to save his life, so that's going to be a shit fest.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised the Dickens fight's actually happening at 122 because we see no struggling to make weight against Kid Galahad.
But I thought I read he'd fucked up basically with that one. I think he could still make it, but I don't know. I thought there was a couple of problems he had in the build-up.
From what I've heard, training's gone really well for Dickens, and I'm expecting a good performance from him.
But
one fighter I'm looking forward to seeing against Jack Catterall. I mean, I've only seen him in his last fight against Stalker. That was really impressive. I think this kid's definitely European, definitely British champion in the making. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, he's fighting is it an Argentinian?
Cesar David Analf, some Argentinian guy. Yeah,
he's never been stopped, so it'll be interesting to see if he can knock him over. Because he's definitely got a punch behind him. So I think the Warren boys, he's one of the ones to be looking at the moment. If Warren doesn't get bored with him after a few weeks, after a bad performance, and decides to put him on the shelf like he does with a lot of other people.
Yeah, true, mate. True.
It could have been Styles make fights with Stalker, doesn't it? We'll have to wait and see. Like what
possibly. That's true, mate. But I really did like him in his last fight. Maybe it's a style problem. I don't know, but I think we'll wait and see. But I think he's got some goods about him anyway.
He's changed trainer, so that could show something, I suppose.
Do you know what, Paul? I would probably go as far enough to say the Liverpool card, even with the TBAs, is better than the Sky card.
Oh yeah, I think the 2 shit cards.
Yeah.
But what if you look at you can't have 3 TBAs that close to. I think there's a couple on Eddie's, which is fucking disgraceful. Let's be serious, but the Liam Smith one is just ridiculous. He's not had an opponent whatsoever.
I do agree with that. That's
shocking.
Wrong.
And I think I said it earlier. My theory on that is it's one of 2 reasons. Liam's either staying with him to stop Frank taking Paul and Stephen through court, or Warren's just selling him a dream and just not delivering it. And I think it might be somewhere between the 2.
I think that's a good point. Yeah.
True.
But I cannot see Smithy would absolutely destroy Brian Rose, absolutely destroy him. But yeah, he's just hidden away and he's barely getting a fight, or he's getting some idiot at 2 days' notice.
His last opponent was shocking, by the way.
Yeah.
Liam Smith's last opponent.
It's like
real bad.
It's Joe Selkirk, not just.
He was cut in his last fight as well, Liam Smith, I remember.
Selkirk's fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, well, has he not just been added to Eddie's Leeds card? I think in this week.
Not as yet.
Was he not?
I've got it up here, so not as yet.
I saw something from the matchroom, so I might be wrong with that, but that was. There's something clearly not.
Anything else you want to cover with us, Paul?
David A last night. Is it just
even touch upon the Friday night fights card, which is coming up next week as well? It's got Yevgen Kryartov on it, which is the only decent fight on that card. The Macau card, the Sky card can go suit my weapon. Friday night, as I said, I'm looking forward to against Etting and Butler. That's about it on that card. Moving on to Twitter questions. Kevin Smith, Steve, how many tickets would a Vlad, Fury and Saunders Eubank rematch card do?
In the UK?
I'm assuming so. I mean, I'm looking at. I think I asked him the question that, if those 2 fights were to happen, it wouldn't be on the same card. I do not see Vlad Fury happening in the UK. I just don't see it at all unless Vlad wants to do it.
No, I don't see it happening in the UK. So I think that's more of a hypothetical question. It's hard to know, isn't it? Because if Frank had anything to do with it, it'd be coming on at about 4 o'clock in the morning or something. So how many would actually still be hanging around? I don't know. Say 25,000.
Oh, I do more than that.
It's a decent number. Adam, this one's for you, mate. I don't know if you see. I actually stuck in a tweet here about this one earlier on there, but Boxing Tip Advice is asking, is Runrong to beat Shiming at 5-2 bet of the year so far?
Well, actually, I've got some news on this. The short answer is yes. It is better of the year. And me and the guy who sent the question in have already backed Ruinreg. I can never get his name right. You can actually get 7-2 on Amnet Ruinreg to beat Shiming. I'm still not sold on Shiming. Obviously, it's on Chinese soil or Chinese friendly soil, so you're probably not going to get a decision. But yeah, I'm actually quite looking forward to that fight. I've seen both of their guys' last fights. I don't normally follow the lower weights, especially the Asian stuff. So Kyle
you can do better. You can do better than triple your money on Amnat Ruenring.
Yeah, 3.5 to 1.
Jesus,
yeah,
that's good.
3.5 to 1. There's only 3 bookmakers up with it at the minute. I'm surprised that price is still there. Genuinely, I backed that at the turn of the year. And
lump it on him, Adam. Jesus, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I've had 40 quid on, and normally, on such a obscure fight as it is, for the bookies, that normally you would see a move on that, but they didn't, so they're obviously happy to take my money. I've been losing recently, so that's probably why.
Kurt, Matt Bowes is asking pros and cons of ITV and Sky for the potential Frampton Quigg fight. Serious question for once. I suppose the pros is going to be more exposure, but then on ITV, but then another one could be as less finance.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right. I mean ITV, they're going to make them bigger stars, but Sky and pay-per-view is where they make the serious money. That's where all the big fights are. So it's like in America, they could put them on their terrestrial, but they always go on pay-per-view. So there's a reason for that. But yeah, it'd be great if more big fights came to terrestrial. But I think we should just be happy with what we're getting.
Yep, definitely. Steve, you were talking about this just before we came on air, actually. Ben Shields is asking thoughts on McGuigan and Grove saying that Quigg and DeGale aren't actually signed to Sky and Matchroom. It's a fight-by-fight basis. What have you heard about this?
Well, not a great deal beyond what you've just said, to be honest. I'm not sure about Groves, but Quigg, he is on a fight-by-fight basis apparently with Sky, and he's self-managed with some kind of advisor in the background. So, I mean, would he be flexible to move over to ITV, possibly, on that basis, yeah?
I really don't know if Eddie would want them to move across to ITV. I mean, he's obviously sees the fact that Quigg Frampton could make a lot of money. Listen, put it this way. If Hearn could turn back the clock, he would maybe have gave in to McGuigan's demands and kept Frampton there, surely.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Quigg, Hearn had the better guy when he had Frampton, but now he's probably thinking all roads lead to Frampton. Quigg's an expendable sort of commodity, he'll chuck Quigg under the bus to get the Frampton fight, and if he ends up promoting the Frampton fight on Sky, all the better. He wants to get to Frampton by one route or another, and he's just sort of using Quigg as a pawn. I think he would drop Quigg as, like a dead weight as soon as he could.
Next question. Donnie. Adam, in fact, I'll go to you. I don't know how if the Yanks could maybe put this into perspective, but Dave Q's asking, rank the British middleweights in order: Lee, Murray, Saunders, Eubank, Ryder, Macklin, and which of these fights realistically can happen?
Macklin's shot, so forget him to start with. Ryder's not as good as what everyone thought he was going to be. Lee's obviously the man in terms of world titles at the minute. Eubank, Saunders would be close to go again. It's a good question. And like I've mentioned, Adametras, I like Adametras. He's a little bit behind in terms of experience, but I think he'll start moving pretty quickly once he gets some momentum. He's not got the best promotional base out of those lots, so that's why he's a bit under the radar. But yeah, definitely, as from what we've seen, Lee, Billy Joe, and then probably Eubank and Macklin shot.
No, I think Murray's still number one.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even mention Murray there. No, Murray's not number one.
I think Murray beats all of them.
Go, Donnie.
Well, I mean, it's creating arguments. Obviously good. It's a hot division from a British point of view.
Donnie, Dan Pace is asking, is the panel up for the Bellew of the Week after getting owned by Lou DiBella?
Well, there's a fine line you have to walk between being polite and, also that interview serviced about 10 minutes before we took it on short notice. We were like TBA. So anyways.
I didn't think we got owned at all. Actually, I thought we went pretty well,
Nah.
Yeah, it did, and I'm sure we'll get Lou on again another time, and we can ask him some more of your questions. So when we facilitate that, tweet him out to us, and we'll get him asked.
Grand Theft Shape's asking a question here about a pound for pound list. I'll put that on to next week's show. Paul's asking, say, Kurt, why does Warren blatantly back some fighters to the hills but attempt to ruin others' careers by not getting them fights? I suppose that's something like Paul was just discussing there a wee while back there.
Well, it's like the Walsh brothers as well. I mean, he had them, but hardly any of them were ever fighting, was there? I mean, Liam's hasn't been out that often, but he's the most active of them. Then he dropped the other two, and now he's just got Liam, but it just seems weird how some just sit on the shelf not doing anything. I mean, I don't know why that is.
Dave, the matchmaker's asking, he's actually asking about next opponents for Martin Murray and Paul Smith. For Martin Murray, would you prefer to see like someone against Martinez, Solomon, Rubio or Korobov? And for Paul Smith, Gonzalez, Love, Paraban and Duglin.
For Murray, I would like to see him fight Jalen Love because I think he'd kick his ass. That'd be fun, and Murray deserves a good payday after taking the GGG fight and showing the heart he did.
We need to remember Murray is not getting into America, by the way.
Yeah, he needs at least 3 months' notice, I believe. He's done 4 stints in
Paul
prison.
Smith, I mean, who cares, right?
I can see Paul Smith facing.
Put him in with Andre Ward. That'll be fun.
He'll fight Rocky
Give Andre Ward a first-round knockout for a change.
Steve, Hamada's asking, did Scott Quigg need Joe Gallagher or Eddie Hearn to help him in the ring last night? He seems to be no good in those situations.
Yeah, I think it was touched upon earlier. He's not the best in front of the camera. He needs a bit of media training. I do feel a bit sorry for him sometimes when they throw the mic into his face because he sort of comes off with the same phrases and he's not really sure what to say. He could have done with somebody sort of like a bit of a ventriloquist, with their hand up his arse, sort of working what he's saying because he's maybe not doing himself any favours. But yeah, he could have done with a bit of help, I think, poor fella.
He just comes across a bit weird as well with those evilly staring eyes. They just, with the way he talks and the staring eyes, it's a bit creepy, I say.
It's a bit simple, like.
Yeah.
Lee Davis is asking Adam, when will Froch vacate and will his image be dented with more casual fans?
Froch vacate the WBA?
Mm-hmm.
The answer to the second part is probably no. And when will he vacate? Probably pretty soon. Honestly, I've said it for a while. If it's not Chavez, I think he'll just retire anyway. So it don't really matter what belts he's got.
And Damien McKinley says he's seen as dickhead Froch is going to retire due to being ordered to fight Ward. Who's the top 5 pound for pound UK fighters now?
Lee Froch.
I knew you were going to fucking say it.
Yeah, but I think he's saying like with Froch being out of the pound for pound rankings, this guy's pound for pound rankings, anyways.
Who's number 1 then?
Amir
Khan. Hey.
Someone having a shit down the bog.
Someone's either that or pissing into a cup. Mickey
Andy's got his mandatory drug test tomorrow.
I've not had any drugs for whiles, mate. Mickey D's asking, Boy Jones Jr. or Roy Jones Jr., who's going to be the bigger all-time great?
I never actually saw him, but I heard he was
Never
terrible.
I never saw it either, mate. I think he's a super featherweight, and apparently he's got the waist size of a fucking light flyweight, apparently.
Yeah, didn't he basically look like a hobbit or something?
He's something along the lines, for Christ's sake. That's all the questions for this week. I did really want to rattle through them because I know we took on a few callers. Gary Hyde came on there at the last minute, so we're kind of running kind of late just now. So coming up next is the Belly of the Week award. Then we're going to get right into the fight reviews for some good fights happening on Saturday. And Kurt will get the intro playing just now.
Okay, what's the value of the week? It's going to happen, mate. We're going to do it. And when we do it, it's going to be vicious, mate. I ain't a man dregsing with the weights. I ain't a man taking the last ounces of my soul on the scales. I've done that before. I ain't doing it no more. You can say what you want. Oh, Bellew's not in shape. Bellew looks fleshy at the weight. Bellew's just iced a man who's never been done before. Bellew just feels in absolutely fantastic shape. Bellew doesn't lose 2.5 stone no more each time for a camp. Bellew goes to the gym now 15 stone and just cuts £10 nice and easy. I fought Nathan Cleverly in my 16th fight, 15 fight novice. I'd fought, the best person I fought was Oval Mackenzie at British title level. I am now, is that 25, is that 26 fights? I've fought some of the best, I've fought the best fighter in the world in my weight class, one of the biggest pound for pound punchers in the world. I've beat guys like Isaac Chilemba, world ranked guys. Let's see who beats Isaac Chilemba. I've beat renowned punchers, Ederson Miranda. I'm not saying he was the best Ederson Miranda, I'm just saying I've beat these guys. Who's he beat? Okay, everyone's saying, well, Tony, he did beat you. He beat a guy who basically got a fight because he opened his mouth at a press conference and he sells a shitload of tickets to the arena. That's why I got that fight. Everybody thought he was going to smash me. Everyone involved with that fight thought he was going to smash me. But when he went to within an inch of losing, and it's a decision that could have went either way, he doesn't want to come near me after it. That's why he couldn't answer the question then when I said it in front of him. Just answer me this: why wouldn't you take the rematch immediately? Do you know what he said? I think he was saying what that Welsh train station was. That long word. I couldn't understand what he was saying. I just answered a simple question: why wouldn't you fight me the minute after the rematch happened? He wouldn't fight me because he believed he was going to knock me out, and he just believed he was going to beat me up. And that's all I've got to say about that.
Let's do it right now. We can do it now, you fucking rat.
Okay, what's the value of the week?
Everyone knows what it is, Tony. Now, I've got 5 nominations this week, and I dare say some of the guys have got a few as well. Amir Khan, Donny will be fucking like, oh, you prick. He says Fighter A took the easy route with Fighter B. Right? This is the guy. This is the guy claiming that he was the only person that he was in the frame to fight Mayweather. Fucking tosser. Eubank Jr. said immediately after his fight last night on the ring apron that the title he now held was a world championship. It's a real title, apparently, according to him. David Hay says that Rigo beats Avalos on points.
Didn't he say Rigondololo beats him on points?
I didn't know. He sounded like a casual last night, didn't he? Frank Warren for stating that he would try and get Vlad against Fury in the UK. And Teddy Atlas for discrediting Martin Murray as a bum, but practically saying he was a bum, then saying that Triple G should be fighting Quillen or Jacobs.
Like it's his fault.
Exactly. So that's my nominations this week, guys. Who you got?
I got, I know some people won't like it, but I got Carl Frampton. Now, I don't know the exact quote, but I think he said something very much like, it was when he and Quig were doing their little byplay. Just remember who the real world champion is. And I found that hilarious. 2 runner-ups,
Ringo Starr. 2
domestic bums going at it. Like, just remember who the real world champion is. We won't mention his name, but it's not me.
Ringo Starr. Thomas was going down the tracks.
Oh, by the way, I actually wanted to give a shout out to these guys: Dan Raphael, Brian Campbell, Nigel Collins, Teddy Atlas, Keir Mulvaney, Bernardo Pilata, Eric Raskin, Salvador Rodriguez, Carlos Narvaez, and Raf Bartholomew. They did the ESPN pound for pound rankings, right? And some prick, I don't know who it was, but some fucking prick on that panel of people actually ranked Golovkin number 3 pound for pound. Right, so Golovkin's actually sitting number 5 just now in the ESPN pound for pound list. Now they did the list like how we did ours, Kurt. They did if you got the first spot, you get 10 points, etc. Yep. So they had it then as it comes in here. Golovkin got number 3 spot once, number 4 twice, 5th twice, 6th 3 times. I don't think anyone in their right mind without an agenda can actually fucking put Golovkin anywhere near the top 10.
Yeah, you nailed it there, Andy. It's with an agenda, isn't it? Them boys have got agendas, I suppose we all have, really, when you think about it. But, I mean, it's probably the likes of Eric Raskin, does the HBO podcast, doesn't they? They're all pushing Golovkin and Kovalev like mad. You know, they said it on the podcast themselves. Golovkin's definitely top 5 pound for pound now. So, obviously, they're going to stick him on.
Shocking.
It's a bit like Golden Boy with the ring ones.
Yeah, exactly same. Yep.
So, guys, you get
but all 10 of them had him in the top 7 or 8.
Hang on. Well, as I say, there's definitely an agenda there to try and push him. Whatever. I mean, you could argue that Marquez is slightly too high because he's sitting third there. You know, you could argue he's pretty too high. They've got Klitschko down at 8. They've got Kovalev. You know, Kovalev is borderline. I would say he's not top 10 just yet. I'd just say he's maybe just on the cusp of that. But put it this way: if Golovkin hasn't got an all-time great win on his performance, i.e. the Hopkins fight for Kovalev, there's no way Kovalev should be ranked at 10 and Golovkin at number 5, if that's the case. If we're ranking it basically on a Hall of Fame win, it can't be done like that.
It is difficult with Golovkin because he's potentially top 5 or even top 3, but currently he's yet to prove it, and that's what the difficulty is with him.
Yeah. So what's your nominations then, guys? Who you got? Anybody?
I've got my personal friend, Mr. John Hill, who works for Coral. They was doing some sponsorship at Box Nation yesterday evening, and after Eubank's win, they put a price up for the Billy Joe rematch, and they had Eubank as a 1-2 favourite, which is ridiculous. So John Hill will be happy that he's got a mention on here this evening.
Now this could be wrong, but didn't Steve Bunce on last night's broadcast say that Eubank did really well because Shudenov was the favourite going in? Something like that.
Well, if he did say that, I didn't hear him, but if he did say that, that is completely incorrect.
He did say it, I'm pretty sure he did.
I think he did,
Right.
I think he did.
Well, that's a nomination then for Mr. Bunce.
Okay. Dave, Donnie, you two got anything?
How about Barry McGuigan ringside, jumping up and down like I believe he was. I read somewhere like on Twitter he was right in front of Carl's wife too, like just jumping in front of her view, screaming, and like I don't know if the attention is more for him than it is for Frampton.
Well, sorry.
When you go.
I was going to say, I just want to mention that there was one that we forgot last week, and it is a crime that we forgot it. I think it needs to be included, and that is the gentleman who tweeted to Anthony Mundine a picture of his pregnant wife, very, very pregnant, looked probably as if she was about to give birth any day, and he said, I just want to let you know, we're naming our child Anthony after you. You are an inspiration.
The reason why I removed that is because according to Alex, it's an old tweet, and apparently the guy's a troll. So I just decided to.
So it was not actually.
It
true.
wasn't done deliberately. I didn't forget about it, but I spoke to Alex about it, and he apparently that's what he said. So I dropped him off it.
So he owned us as well then.
Yeah.
I'm almost glad it was a troll because it'd be so sad.
Yeah.
To grow up named after Anthony Mundine.
Fuck aye, big hater. Steve.
I have no nominations.
Kurt.
No, I don't either.
None for, right, okay, so what we've got David Hay, we've got Amir Khan, Eubank Jr., Frank Warren, Teddy Atlas, Steve Bunsen. Who was your first one? Barry McGuigan and Adam, who was your first one again? I think you had two.
The bookmaker guy.
John Hill, bookmaker. Colin.
John Hill, bookmaker, right, so there you go. Adam, who are you voting for?
Teddy Atlas is by far the worst this week.
Teddy Atlas. Dave?
I'll give it to Teddy as well.
Ooh.
It's not a very strong week, is it?
He is a bit of a bitter hater just now, isn't he? Eh?
Yeah, well, he often is.
Donnie?
You know, believe it or not, I'm going to have to say that the biggest failure of this week is Amir Khan.
Oof. It's 2-1. Steve?
What was the high one again, Andy? Sorry.
He says that Regal beats Avalos on points.
After really looking awful in his last fight in Japan, didn't he? He really dug the heels in with Rigondeaux.
Right. I will go for Eubank, wasn't he? Didn't he laud himself as a world champion? Yeah, Eubank.
Right, so it's 2-1-1. Kurt?
I think it's easily Amir Khan. I mean, Mayweather took the easy fight with Pacquiao, didn't he, instead of fighting him?
True. So that's 2-1-1-1-1. I'm going to go for a Teddy Atlas, just to discredit Martin Murray as a bum like that. I mean, bums don't go 11 rounds and, basically he has to be blasted out or be saved. I mean, I really don't know how you can say it. Then he said that he should be fighting guys like Peter Quillen, who's ducked Triple G for months on end. So Teddy Atlas, sir, you are this week's Belly of the Week award winner. Congratulations.
Was he on ESPN saying that, was he, or what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Back to serious matters though. We've got the fights coming up next week, guys, and we've got fights coming out our ass, as we mentioned there. Friday night's Box Nation card, Friday night fight card isn't going to look all that great. Sky card isn't looking all that great either. Donnie's been chomping at the bit to discuss the upcoming fights on NBC, and we've also got the Macau card as well. But we'll start off with the NBC card. Donnie, Keith Thurman, Robert Guerrero. Good fight. We expect Keith Thurman to be basically, I wouldn't say dominant, but I think it'll be a close competitive fight, and I think Thurman's going to take it with about 3-4 points in the cards. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't actually. First, I'd like to thank Al Heyman. Secondly, no. Secondly, I actually don't think it's going to be close, and I'm going to tell you. Well, I'm not going to tell you necessarily. I'll tell you why in a minute, but I just want to, just for illustrative purposes, indicate that this fight was offered to Robert Guerrero about a year ago, or maybe 18 months ago, and I think he was supposed to get over $1 million, and he actually tried to leave Heyman and Golden. Well, actually, no, he may not have been with Heyman at that point yet, but he tried to leave Golden Boy and bolt to Top Rank. He was afraid of it so badly. And then, now what do they pay? They're paying, I think, Guerrero for this fight, I think, over $2 million. Okay? So he needed, basically, they wanted to give guys, like, legitimate, reasonable paydays to get in the ring with Keith Thurman, and people won't take him. And that's why he hasn't had a legitimate opponent up to this point. They had to overpay Guerrero vastly. I mean, Guerrero is not worth $2 million. And what's he done since Mayweather? He went life and death with some Japanese guy that nobody ever heard of until we saw him on TV over here. It's crazy. I mean, he's not worth $2 million, but that's what they need to give him to take the risk of stepping in the ring with Keith Thurman, because he knows he's going to get blasted out. And I think that's exactly what Keith Thurman's going to aim to do. He's on national television. He took a lot of stick for not finishing Bundu in his last fight. A lot of people were on that whole Keith Thurman, one-time hype train. I mean, they got off, or at the very least they cooled their jets a little bit. But we saw the same thing with Crawford too, who got a lot of criticism for taking some guy, I can't remember what his name was, some Russian fella, the distance when he really could have easily stopped him. And
Andrei Klimov.
Who was it? Klimov, Andrei Klimov. That's right. And and then he came out in his next fight and he put on the fight of the year with Yuriorki Gamboa. So I mean, I think that's going to stick with Thurman. I think he needs to make a name for himself in this loaded welterweight division, in which there are a lot of guys with a lot of star power, and a lot of big names. I mean, he needs to put his name out there, so that people start mentioning his name with their names. And he doesn't have a whole lot of fans because he hasn't really fought in his hometown a lot. It wasn't built up from the hometown level like a lot of other fighters were. And so I think he really needs to basically do some quick mass marketing. And I think the best way he can do that is by knocking out Robert Guerrero. And the one thing that Guerrero will test on Thurman is that we haven't seen Thurman fight inside yet, because he frankly hasn't had to. He hasn't had to, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have those skills. He does like to fight at long range and mid range, and we'll see if if Guerrero can test him that way. Guerrero traditionally wasn't that type of fighter either, but it seems like he's morphed into one as he's gone up the scales. That's the sort of fight he's needed to bring to people in order to give himself a good chance. So I think that we'll see something interesting from Thurman. We'll see what kind of skills he has besides that long and mid range boxing. And basically setting up that obviously that huge right hand that he has. So we'll see that, and hopefully we'll see the best from both men. And it's going to be exciting, but I do think it's going to end with a Keith Thurman knockout. I think it may come late though, and it may require some time for Thurman to time him as he's coming in. But it's going to be a great fight. I'm pumped.
Donnie, is it safe to say that Guerrero is getting paid more than Thurman then?
I think he very well might be. Yeah, I think Thurman might be having to take the short money here because Guerrero can rightly say, well, he's been in with Mayweather, he's been in with these top guys, and so I mean he may well be getting paid more for that, and I think it's to compensate him for the risk.
Donnie, what time is that on over there, just so I can try and figure out? Cause the place I watch it on says it's on at 1:30 a.m. in the morning over here.
Is that right? Well, it's in prime time, so I think that means the first fight will start around 8, so maybe it comes on around 9.
Is that Eastern Standard Time?
Huh?
Is that Eastern Standard Time? That's Eastern Time. So that's 1 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning then. If that's 8 p.m., it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, maybe it comes on around. I would say it's probably going to be around 2 in the morning for you.
Fuck, so it's going to clash with the Chinese
Because
card
some
then.
of these Hyman cards are going to be on in the afternoon in the States, aren't they?
They are, but they're the ones that aren't as big, I think. Yeah.
Kurt, do it, mate. Do it.
Yeah, I
Come on, Kurt, do
I
it.
don't agree with what Donny said about Guerrero. I'm going to stick up for the Ghost here. I think what has been said there is exactly what was said about Guerrero when he fought Berto. Now, I'm not saying Berto is anything special, but most were predicting that Berto would be too strong for him, would knock him out. And Guerrero, he showed a lot of heart that fight. He went to war with Berto, he hurt him, and he took a lot of shots but came through it. And now he's going to go in with another guy who's banged him out. The reason he tried to go leave Golden Boy or whatever and go to Barbarian was not to avoid Keith Thurman, I don't think. It was because he got whispers that he could get the Pacquiao fight. So I think one thing you can't say about Guerrero is he's a duck at all. I think he'll fight anybody. He fought Berto, he fought Mayweather, he's fighting Keith Thurman now, and he would have fought Pacquiao if he could have got his release from Golden Boy, and Barbarian would have made that fight, I think. So I think this is a close fight, and I think Guerrero is a live underdog in this fight, and he's a big strong guy. I know he's moved up in weight, but he's a big strong guy at the weight and I think he's heavy-handed as well. I know his record maybe don't suggest that, but I think he hits harder than his record suggests. He's shown he can tough fights out, he can take punishment, and he can keep coming. Keith Thurman, yeah, we know he can punch, we know he's fast, and he looks the goods, but he hasn't shown, when the going gets tough, can he keep going? He hasn't shown that yet because he hasn't had to. He couldn't put Bundu away, who was an old man. I don't think he's not going to go put Guerrero away, so he's going to have to go 12 rounds, and I think Guerrero could win this fight, but it's going to be close.
I think basically Guerrero's best chance is usually getting Thurman to the ropes. I think Thurman will box and try and pot shot him. I think that's how Thurman might pull it off, I think.
Interesting point here. When Guerrero fought Mayweather was a 1-8 favourite with the British bookmakers. And Thurman is a similar price this week. He's 1-6 with 1-8 available with other bookmakers. So it's a foregone conclusion for the bookmakers. I think that Thurman is going to knock Guerrero out, to be honest. Guerrero's inactivity, I don't think he's a full welterweight. Obviously, he's rushed through the weights to get the Mayweather fight. He's been down before, and I think Thurman will keep him down. And I also think that the Bundu fight, I don't think we can criticise him all that much. Bundu's a slippery customer, and I don't think he'd ever been stopped. I think he was undefeated, wasn't he? So yeah, I think that. I don't think we can.
I think Guerrero's nails. Guerrero's hard as nails. I don't think he'll knock him out.
Those odds are crazy. I mean, no one. They give him the same chance as beating Thurman as beating Mayweather. I mean, that's ridiculous. No one.
Pretty much.
I didn't give him a chance against Mayweather because it's Mayweather, but Thurman, he's largely untested. Again, yeah, I agree he should be the favourite. And like Adam said, the inactivity for Guerrero is a worry, I think. But I think for those odds, I think he's worth a bet for people, to be honest.
We get 5.5 to 1 Robert Guerrero if you want it.
Dave, Steve, who do you think? I mean, you've heard me and Kurt saying it should be a closer fight. I say Thurman will probably will run away, maybe 3-4 rounds winner, and then Adam saying knockout victory for Thurman. Where do you stand?
Go ahead, Dave.
We saw Robert quit against Jordan, I think, but he is now a CrossFit fighter, and we saw the dividends that paid in the Tomagate fight. Now, I mean, Berto, he was able to detonate on Guerrero's chin and show that Guerrero did have a good chin, even at 147. But I don't think Berto hits as hard as Thurman. And I don't think that he's as accurate as Thurman. So I think to the body, to the head, Guerrero's getting stopped. I think Thurman's really looking to make a statement here. And I'm going to say KO 6.
Andy, very briefly from me, I agree with you. I think a 3 or 4 point margin, Thurman will win. I think Guerrero will give him a reasonable fight, actually. I like the look of Thurman, but I have yet to be fully convinced by him. He still has yet to win me over, and I am of the unpopular opinion that Broner would beat Thurman if they fought, so I think a close win for Thurman.
That is some statement. So you were in the toilet there, Dave?
I was right.
I went into the bathroom because my brother was making a noise like a cunt. What's he doing? He's having a strum like. Is he
I am in the bathroom, but I'm not on the toilet. I am avoiding
a big wet minge there, for Christ's sake. on the undercard, AIDS-ridden, no problem cloner faces John Molina Jr. Dave, I'll go back to you and your wanking chariot there. You just love to see John Molina drop that right hand like he did on Mickey Bay, surely.
No, well, actually, it was the left hand that
the left hand, sorry,
that ruined Bay's night. But yeah, usually the power does come from Molina's right hand, and I'm thinking Broner's at least going to get hurt in this fight. Hopefully dropped. Hopefully sparked clean out. But I think he's a tough guy too, and I think Molina's going to do what he usually does. He's going to probably hurt him early or knock him down early, and then he's going to run out of ideas. Broner's going to get back into it and stop him late or just win a convincing decision. But it's a good fight.
It's not a bad fight. What are you thinking, guys? Is Cloner going to be basically get clowned, or is he going to be? I don't think he'll stop him. Actually, I think Cloner will probably win on points, but I don't think he'll stop him.
This is a big fight for Broner. You know, on the terrestrial TV, etc. over in America, this is, he needs to prove himself that he's not just a clown outside the ring that, beefs up to however many stone. The odds for this fight are even more attractive. You could have a big price double here, Kirk, because John Molina 7-1. And we've seen, Broner's vulnerability to power. I'm not saying Molina carries the same power as Maidana, but if he does detonate, it could be an interesting night for Broner. I reckon Molina can probably knock him down and still manage to lose, as Dave just said. So I'm looking forward to this fight, actually.
Yeah, they're both good fights, and the thing is, in Broner's last fight, after about the first 6 rounds, I thought it was a pretty even fight, and then he took it away from the other guy. But he should win this fight, you'd imagine. But I think you could definitely see him getting hurt because he's so flat-footed. He stands right in front of his opponent. Yeah, he's got the fast hands, but Maidana did catch him, too easily. And you just never know with Broner, his attitude going into the fight. He thinks he's better than he is, and if he looks at this guy as an easy fight, then it could be even tough for him. Molina is not one to take lightly, I think, and he's a lot better than a lot of people think, I imagine, and I think he can definitely make it tough for the first half of the fight, and Broner's class should tell, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was hurt in the fight at some point, and it'll probably be a good fight as well.
Any other comments on this fight?
What weight is this fight at?
Light welter.
But 140, or is it like 142 or something?
I think it's 140. There's no belt on the line. It's a 12-round fight, so I'm assuming it's going to be at 140.
Oh, if it's 12, then it has to be 140. Yeah, but no, I think. I think that this is like Kurt said, especially if we've seen these pictures of Broner recently, and I don't know when they were taken or whatever, but it seems like he's really blown up between fights, which I thought he was not going to be doing from now on, but apparently he did. And if he is taking Molina lightly, this could be a very, very difficult night for him. And I wouldn't be surprised to see an upset if that's the case. I don't know what his training camp's been like, but in general, Molina is really. I think he is made for Broner, though. He is going to stand there, and he doesn't have the best defense in the world, so basically Broner he likes to throw from his position with his feet planted, as we well know. With his feet, stereotypically real far apart is kind of what he does. But I think he can, plant, hit, and move, stick and move like that, and just have Molina chase him around. He might be in good shape. But that style of fighting requires a little bit of stamina, and if that stamina is lacking and he needs to stand and trade with John Molina, watch out.
I think this fight's in Broner's hands. Molina's a 7-1 with the bookies, like Adam was saying. I'm not a betting man, but I think it just indicates that Broner should be winning this one, I think, but he'll be the architect of his own downfall because he doesn't train very well in between fights, doesn't keep himself in good shape, and that could give Molina a chance. But I think Broner will definitely win, and probably on points, but he could get hurt, he could conceivably get dropped, and if he gets past Molina, I'd like to see him fight someone like Lucas Matisse or someone like that. I think that would be a pretty decent fight. I know Matisse has got business with Provodnikov and that. And if you think that my Keith Thurman comment was controversial, then I'll raise you that one and say that Broner beats Lucas Matisse as well.
Steve's trying to troll tonight. Get him off.
I think he's been listening. I think that meeting with him and Brian King last night, aka Chad Hogan, certainly they've been running some ideas off each other here. I think
They're officially on TMT now.
Yeah.
Officially on something anyway.
Oh, well, there we go. Some good sniff last night for what I hear. Joking, obviously. Also on that card, Abner Mares, he faces Arturo Santos Reyes, and another name fighter I can see there is Terrell Gaucher. Moving to the Macau card, Rex Zhao, he faces Michael Enriquez. Glenn Tapia makes a return to action against Daniel Dawson. I think he's a former world title challenger.
I like that Rex Zhao guy. Is he fighting anybody good?
Michael Enriquez, never
Is
heard
it for
of this
anything
guy.
though? Like an
That's an international super flyweight title.
Okay.
They've got another fight against I don't know what nationality this guy is. Ik Yang from China against Potomac Path Hom Pongthong from Thailand. I think I got that one pronounced
You
right.
making this up?
No. I
want to hear
I
Andy
couldn't
pronounce these when he's drunk.
Exactly. I would never got that right last Saturday, mate.
I wanna hear David Hay pronounce these.
But the main fight on that card is the IBF flyweight title fight. You know, as Dave would say, this is a bogus title because we've got a lineal champion at flyweight. Amnet Rungrong will face Zhao Ziming. Now, this is basically a rematch of their former Olympic day. I actually thought they actually faced in the Asian Games. Actually, I think it was, the Asian Games. Rungrong had to settle for a bronze medal, while Ziming, I think, went on to win it. So it's a rematch from the amateur days. Rungrong, I do expect to win on points. Good boxer, especially on the back foot. You know, he had a crazy life growing up. He got jailed for robbery or armed robbery or whatever it was, or someone, and then ended up learning to fight in prison. He's come out. He's 14-0, 5 knockouts. A classic kind of boxer. And then Zhao Ziming, 6 wins, no defeats, but 1 knockout. Guys, do you really expect to see any sort of further improvement in Ziming? I haven't really watched any of his last couple of fights. He's got no power. He's going to come forward, I think, and fight it out, but I really do expect him to get picked apart.
Unless he gets dominated, though. I mean, would he lose on the cards? I just can't see it myself, unless he got absolutely dominated.
Well, that's a good point. I do expect to see further improvement from Ziming. I watched him properly for the first time in his last fight, and you know he's obviously come on since the highlights I saw from a previous fight. So yeah, I do expect further improvement from him. Good point by Kurt. Can we see him losing on the cards? Probably not. It would have to be extremely clear.
Do they have an international comprised judging panel for this fight, or is it all Chinese based judges?
I think they'll probably be international, but we've got to remember that this is Bob Arum's big and probably only Chinese hope. That's an important factor.
Yeah.
The great Chinese hope.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, he has that Rex Zhao guy, but he's from Hong Kong, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why we're kind of talking about these fights now, I've been getting a lot of feedback. They want us to spend a wee bit more time discussing or previewing fights for the following week and stuff like that. But that's where we are this week. I mean, the plan was to maybe get a second show up during the week. The Yanks would maybe run it, but we've not heard back from Matty yet. Nobody know what's happening with that show? No.
Still in development.
Okay.
Matty's holding out for more money, I think.
We'll just get
Signed
Frank.
with Al Heyman.
We'll get Frank on the phone to send some IRUs to us.
Do some
He's
posts.
like 7-foot heavyweight named Big Dong or whatever.
King Dong.
He's a massive
Isn't he
dog.
They call me Big Dong.
King Dong. Anyways, serious matter though. Give me a prediction for the fight. Rungrong against Ziming. Kurt.
Well, to be honest, I call him Shipming, to be honest. I watched his first fight, never watched him again. I think he's terrible, to be honest, so I've got to go with the other guy, unless there's a ridiculous robbery, which, to be honest, I can see happening. So, if legit, the other guy should win, but probably Shipming will take it.
Steve.
Shiming looks alright from what I've seen of him. The other guy, Rinrong, I mean, you could write on the back of a stamp what I know about him, so...
Couldn't write his name on the back of a stamp.
Shiming on points, I don't know. Yeah, but Glenn Tapia-Dawson on the undercard might be a decent fight, though.
Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, assuming that judging is on point and it's legit, I mean... I'm not Rinrong. I don't know how you say his name. Is really? I mean, he's got a good little resume. I mean, he beat Ioka. He also beat a guy that I tell you the truth, I actually didn't see the fight, but I had seen Mick Williams Arroyo's previous fight, which was the eliminator for him to get into that title position. And I thought Arroyo was a pretty darn good fighter, good boxer puncher, and although Rinrong was knocked down in their fight, apparently, he came back to win it by split decision. And I had good hopes for Arroyo going into that fight. I thought that was
what fight was that?
Mick Williams Arroyo versus Rinrong.
Nah, he fucking dominated that fight, mate.
Who did?
Rinrong.
Well, it was split decision.
Yeah, so was Hagler Hearns. Hagler against Leonard.
So was Ward Froch.
Well, okay, well that just proves my point then. And anyways, is that if he dominated Mick Williams Arroyo, if you're saying I didn't see it, but if he dominated him, he dominated a darn good fighter. So I think Amnat has a good chance here.
Dave, do you give a fuck?
Well, not really, but I'm gonna say my 2 cents anyway. Shiming has improved. He's put more pop into his shots. His technique is more impressive than it once was. I think working with Roach has been good for him, but I saw him in his last fight. He needs a lot more time in the pro ranks before he steps up like this. I think he's going to get smashed. I thought last time when I saw him against One Song Chai Jim, the little Manny Pacquiao lookalike, I mean, he dominated the fight for the most part, but he gassed late. He was open. He couldn't stop him. I mean, I wasn't that impressed, and I thought then. For the listeners, the Skype chat is a little bit entertaining here. That's why there's been some pauses. He also is just way too open and inexperienced. I think Rinrong, whatever, is gonna beat him clearly.
That's unprofessional. Adam?
I'm going for Rinrong, and I'm going to get his name wrong, and I've backed him as well. 7-2 is a big price.
I remember that scene from Dumb and Dumber, Kurt, yeah. That was fucking brilliant. I bet Dave Tollett's like a crime scene just now, you know?
Yeah. Poor Cindy.
Poor Cindy. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for that. I'd like to thank...
Whoa, no British previews?
What British previews? There's no fucking decent fights on next week. Butler against Tete.
Paul Butler's going to become a 2-weight world champion. And he's a heavy favourite to do so. So that's a good one. We touched on the Liverpool cards earlier when Paul rang up. There's some shit on Sky next week, to be honest.
Right.
I don't even know who Luke Campbell's facing, to be fair, but Tommy Coyle will beat Martin Geffen, probably knock him out. Rocky Fielding's fighting some bloke I've never heard of. So yeah, enjoy that, fellas.
Are they trying to set up Campbell to fight Coyle?
Yes, but there's been a delay because Campbell was originally scheduled to take part on this card and then pulled out, and now he's back on without an opponent as we speak.
I see.
Do you want to discuss Paul Butler or just leave it until next week?
Leave it.
Okay.
Leave it.
I'd like to thank Adam. I'd like to thank Dave, even though he's in the toilet, mate. Remember, wash your hands, don't forget to shake it. I'd like to thank Donnie. I'd like to thank Steve. I'd like to thank Kurt. I've been the host Andy Patterson. I'd like to thank all the callers, all the Twitter questions coming in, even the listeners on Mixler, etc. Cheers for your time, and thanks to Asif for his wee heavyweight segment. We don't know what's happening if we're going to have a midweek show yet. We need to speak to Matty D. But anyways, we'll be back on Sunday, usual time, usual place. See you then. All the best. Have a good week.
Gennady Golovkin.